Media transmissions from Earth have polluted the Milky Way galaxy with completely unwatchable content. Fearing these signals will spread beyond our galaxy, Captain S and the 01 Legion have headed to Earth to destroy the source of this woke mind virus.
This time, Star Wars is going to be saved, right?
Guys, look, I know my bank account says that I spent $5 million on OnlyFans subscriptions, but it wasn't me. It was my interpreter.
Tonight, after plunging into the depths of Chilean ruins at the top of mountains, discovering treasures thought lost to time, and fighting his way back to civilization, Josh Berger is the guy with the stuff.
Bro, I didn't even know I had an intro. I'm the punchline now. I suppose I didn't have an intro. There you go.
Hello.
Oh, no intro for Cider.
Nope. I couldn't. What am I supposed to do with that?
Oh,
I'm
no,
just, you know.
I know, you really can't follow that one up.
No.
Yes, welcome back, Josh. How are you doing, our English friend? How are you doing down there?
Well, I'm actually looking forward to having my hopes and dreams destroyed by whatever it is that we're talking about today. Especially
X-Men.
And
of course, I mean,
X-Men. I saw the first episode. I couldn't finish it, so I'm like, whatever.
You'll never guess what's on the laser.
Oh man, wonder. I genuinely wonder. It can't be the thing Cider and I were complaining about earlier. But yes, folks, welcome to another episode of the 01 stream here at Bounding Into Comics. It is Wednesday night. We are here to hang out, and we have a lot to talk about. Obviously, as Josh brought up, we have X-Men 97. Obviously, as I brought up at the top, we have a lot of Star Wars news. None of it is really going to be good. We have an insane story coming out of the Sweet Baby Inc. Angle. And we have trailers galore. We have news galore. So we're just going to dive right into it. Yes, we have Josh back. It's been a while, but we're happy to have him. Josh, do you want to let them know what you were doing, or do you just want to get going?
Nah, I'm all right. No,
not being mugged in some South American jungle somewhere.
At this point, all of us presume that that's what's happening. Unless you tell us otherwise, we presume that you're just getting into like a giant bar fight.
Well, to be fair, that's actually way more interesting than what I was actually doing. So,
Josh, did you kill a woman trying to obtain red spiders in the Amazon? Was that you?
Yes, but it identified as a man, so it doesn't count.
Well, also, see, this is the thing. Is I didn't think Josh was in the bar fights or stealing spiders. Like I said, I thought he was jumping into Chilean ruins to discover old Game Boys. So, and then fighting gorillas with handguns to get away with them.
If you call them ruins, but here they call them cities, actually. So.
Oh, yeah. So.
They call them schools here. They call them our government offices here. But no, I wish it was something as cool as like going through the ruins and getting Game Boys.
There's a helicopter landing. Holy cow! Whoa!
Oh yeah, it's Spencer. Yeah,
dude, like you turned around and all of a sudden a black
like we were
Hawk
taking fire there for a second.
it's like anti-aircraft 50 cals bear down on oh man. Whew.
It's like, are we under attack?
Welcome to 01, everybody. I hope you brought your bulletproof vests. As Spencer said, we can jump right into it because, man, do we have a lot going on this week, that's for sure. By the way, did you guys catch this one? The Verge's Ash Parrish admits her Sweet Baby Inc. defense piece ignores how the company employee there, Chris Kindred, the most inapt named person ever, by the way. Like, they were handing out names. They were like, let's do opposite day with this dude. And including this detail makes it seem like the inciting incident is on equal footing with what happened next, was her excuse. And you're muted.
You're muted, by the way.
Muted,
I was literally about to let you know that.
You're still muted.
I was muted on my stream deck, and then I was muted on the StreamYard. I don't know what you want from me, internet, but I'm finally here. So yes, thank you, Cider, for kicking us off with our first story. Obviously, I needed a little help there with my microphone. But yes, guys, in case you didn't see this, the Sweet Baby Inc. situation has it's going like absolutely bananas to levels I didn't think were, or here, let me rephrase that. Levels that I naively sort of hoped we were all better as a society then, but we're clearly not. So essentially, the crux of the story is that the Ash Parrish of The Verge recently wrote a defense piece for Sweet Baby Inc. Published it, I think, like Monday, Friday or so. And it's your typical sort of Sweet Baby Inc. fare where it runs down, oh, they just give suggestions. Nobody has to listen to them. And oh, gamers are so upset because they're all racist, misogynist. It's all of that same stuff. Now, in her piece, she fails to mention the big inciting incident of this entire
take cover, boys! Holy shit! I wasn't paying attention there. I was trying to find a video of Hillary Clinton.
It seems like whenever you like move your mic or get too close to it, that's when it sounds like we're under fire again.
Whoa! You're muted on the stream deck.
How about now?
Yep, we're still getting it. We're still getting it.
Okay.
It literally sounds like when you're on a helicopter. Just
that's bizarre. Somebody has to take this one story. Then I'm gonna restart. I'm gonna see how to fix this.
Okay, thanks. Yep. I did a video on this a little earlier. Yeah. I did a video on this a little earlier. So what happened with Ash Parrish is that throughout all of this, she decided to ignore the Sweet Baby Inc. employee, Chris Kindred, asking for his followers and other people who were paying attention to what was going on with the Sweet Baby Inc. curator page to mass report that. And Cabrutus, a friend of Yellow Flash's, by the way, was on the Flashcast, I believe, this past week. So, Grem started covering this sort of thing, but her DMs ended up being leaked. And as you can see, there's this big long screed, but really the biggest takeaway is this little itsy bitsy piece at the end of it that encapsulates her entire thinking about this whole thing. And it's around here somewhere, I promise. There it is. So this was the bottom line with her. In fact, she says that's it, period. So she says, Cabrutus and his ilk, meaning gamer bros, look behind Josh. Yeah. Cabrutus and his ilk have a grievance against Sweet Baby Inc. that is rooted in racism and misogyny and has no basis in the reality of how video game development works. That's it, period. Like, that sassy bitch thing that they do. Yeah, that was that right there. Yep. So that was the takeaway from Ash's defense on why she didn't include Chris Kindred suggesting a mass reporting of the curator page, right? Genius.
These are the absolute chuckle chodes that are controlling our industry on multiple fronts, not just gaming, but journalism. And I know it doesn't sound surprising to say this, but it's just another reassurance that these are the morons that are running the show, and this is why everything stinks now.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though, is that we are. I did a video about this earlier, and I just wanted to highlight this while I was distracted. Look at this, over 300,000 Right? Where am I pointing? Over here. 300,000 people that are paying attention to this now. Okay?
Mhm.
And it just keeps getting worse for these sweet baby goons, okay? Because they just keep making it worse, exacerbating us. Now it's come out that Homeland Security is labeling gamers terrorists. That's right. You and your buddies are in Helldivers 2, plugging up some bug holes. Turns out if you do it a little too aggressively, you're going to go to Guantanamo.
Did you guys say anything negative about Nita Sarkeesian in the last 15 years? You're basically a member of Al Qaeda.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. You see, it reminded me of this song from Placeboing that was...
Misogynists and chauvinists and sexists and misogynists and chauvinists and sexists and misogynists and chauvinists and sexists and
Yes, we're stalling until Spencer gets back.
Chauvinists and sexists and misogynists and chauvinists and sexists and misogynists.
This shit claps, yo.
Right?
That's pretty much what Hillary Clinton said.
This is what they have on loop at Sweet Baby Inc.'s lobby, just forever. It's in the elevators, too.
This is what they have on loop in hell.
Same difference. Yeah, you got Ruth Bader Ginsburg twerking to this down in hell. All right, so there's that. All right. Yeah, the audience liked it. You see that?
That was more loose skin that ever needed to be on this podcast.
Ooh, that's unpleasant.
You sure about that? You sure about that? You sure about that?
But yeah, so we're back to the beginning with this one though. Is that Ash Parrish is a reporter for The Verge, which why this matters. Now, you may not think that The Verge is any type of big thing to report on. However, millennials do pay attention to it for tech and game news. Now, her whole thing is a propaganda piece that basically says that Sweet Baby Inc. is being harassed by racist, sexist, misogynist bigots, right? That was the part that was missing from the song. That's what her article concludes, is that it is unjust for them to receive backlash for trying to reach these storied heights of DEI compliance.
Does anyone else feel like deja vu? Does it feel like we've already done this before and now we're just doing it again?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And thank you. Super Based is here and gave 5 memberships away. Thank you very much. That is Super Based. Thank you very much.
Josh doesn't get any of them. Don't make
the
sure
most
Josh is
based thing you could have possibly done. Thank you so much, man. Hail to you. Thank you so much for the donation or the super chat, I guess you call it, or the gift. I don't know how you classify it.
Very cool. Very cool. Welcome aboard, new members.
Very cool.
Welcome aboard.
And also, I fixed it. I think I called like 3 people and I asked them like, "Hey, does it sound good? Good." So let's hope we stick the landing for the rest of the stream. I won't move that much. I'll stay right here.
Well, as DZ3 asks here, he says, where is the part where they started the harassment campaign first? And that was with Chris Kindred requesting his followers to go and mass report Cabrutus's curator page, Sweet Baby Detected, right here, that has over 300,000 followers as of today.
Definitely got Streisand affected. Nobody, like, this thing existed in January and nobody knew about it until last month, February, like the end of February, because all the journalists freaked out. All of Sweet Baby freaked out.
Wait. Matt from Tinder is the guy that started reporting on this first, all right? Matt from Tinder. Nobody else ever reported on this before.
Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. I forgot. Nobody else
Matt
ever
from
talked
Tinder.
about. Yes, Matt from Tinder was the first person to ever talk about any of this in the gaming sphere. Nobody's been talking about DEI. Nobody's been talking about.
It's a real deep joke, guys. If you don't get it, I can't help
feel
you.
like
It's a deep fried meme, people.
It's so
Like, I feel like I'm
That's
the
exactly
one
what it is,
out of
Jacob.
the loop, and I was about to say, isn't it Matt Walsh?
Yeah, that's the joke.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
But
Let me say,
we do
it's a
have
boomer comment. Yeah, I didn't. Okay.
we do have a gamer dev in the chat here on X that brings up a point here. Spencer. He says, I'm a gamer dev since the 90s. I know how game development works. In my games, everyone is welcome, both as characters and colleagues. I have championed women in games, minorities too. That's basic equality and decency. I'm actually a lefty voter, but I hate what hashtag Sweet Baby Inc. represent and the horrible things they have said and represent. They are the ones striving for division and discriminations based on hatred. They have cost people I know jobs because of their racism and politics in no politics in gaming. I'm sorry, no politics in gaming.
No politics in Georgia. Get out of here, Jacob.
That's
we
true.
don't want to hear from you.
I mean, it would be better if there were no politics in Georgia.
Honestly,
I mean, after this last election, I can't fight it too much.
Don't worry. Stacey Abrams is coming up next. You've got her. Don't worry. It's her turn. Yeah, exactly.
There are people on Twitter that think that she's like the owner of the Abrams Tank Company.
No,
it blows my mind.
That can't be.
Because she has the same last name.
That is
in the government.
incredible. That is the best thing I've ever.
It is. It's great.
I'm not even going to correct him. I'm just going to sit here and let him fight. Like that meme, the let them fight. Like that's incredible. But two game industry truths, DZ3 says, I wasn't aware of that group either until I knew of Sweet Baby Inc. I joined them because of that harassment from Sweet Baby Inc. Yeah, that was sort of the big catalyst. And it really, going back to what game industry's truth was sort of saying, I'm going to sort of address it, get into it. But the very beginning of all this was basically just players going, hey, we don't like this company. Let's make a list just to let people know by their public credits what they're not working on or what they are working on. Again, nobody's deep diving, nobody's doxing, nobody's hacking into, like Sony files to find this information. It's all work that they've done. At the bare
minimum, it was like, please stop gaslighting me. Please, for the love of God.
Well, that's where we are at right now, which is what's so insane about this is that we are watching the gaming industry try to run this defense for this one company so strongly that now we're getting the Department of Homeland Security involved. We're getting reporters like outright lying in their reports. It is deja vu because we are right back where we were a couple years ago.
These people will absolutely turn into the 85 Bears when it comes to defending absolute nonsense from their own industry.
Oh yeah, no, I can't. I mean, as a Bears fan, that's 1,000% like accurate. Like if you guys, we'll probably refrain from going through all the text messages that Ash or the DMs Ash sent to the Twitter user here because it is long, it is deep, it is convoluted. I highly recommend you go check out the article for the full breakdown. But essentially, in this article, we have reached the point where they have gaslit themselves, essentially, right? So the big crux of what Ash Parrish did is she essentially went, we're not going to talk about what Chris Kindred did because one, I think it's irrelevant to the story, and two, it's in no way equal to what came next. And it's like, look, if you're a journalist, in the very basic sense, your duty should be to provide information. I know I'm going from like a very, very 2007 like definition of journalism.
Calm down with the alt-right extremism over there.
I know. I can't believe it. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm about to go call
Spencer.
for an insurrection.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say, like, you're gonna end up on a list there, mister.
They're gonna put damn it, I can't say that joke on here. We're gonna get
you can't say that joke.
Nope. I'm sure you probably knew it because you probably heard the first syllable that I sputtered out. But to game industry truth's point, it's this industry, this medium has for the longest time, and not just this one, but film, comic books, all the industries that they say aren't inclusive have always been exclusionary. It's not true. Here's what happened in the last few years. It was a big marketing stunt. I talk about this all the time where in 2008, 2007, something happened where being a nerd became fashionable. It became, popular to say,
not
look at
fashionable, profitable.
That's exactly what I was getting at. It was, it became profitable to, damn it, now you made me lose my train of thought because I was laughing. What the hell was I saying?
You said it was fashionable, then it became...
I totally don't. What was I saying was fashionable? Like to become right. Okay, got it. Yes. So it became fashionable to be a nerd, quote unquote. But like Jacob said, it became marketable. And so that's where we saw this advent of the sort of inclusion rhetoric, like the number one base statement that was at the core of everything, out of every DEI argument, out of every nonsense, it's blank is for everyone. Comic books are for everyone. Video games are for everyone. Movies are for everyone. And it's like, guess what? That's a false statement. It doesn't work, because the second, if I'm saying this is for everybody, that sets up this expectation that everybody is going to come in and everybody is going to have to be happy, and this is going to cater to everybody. And when it doesn't, that gives everybody full right to crap their pants. The correct terminology should be video games, whatever, are for anybody. As in, anybody can come in and enjoy them. It might not cater to you, but it's not closed off. Just because it's not for you doesn't mean it's bad. It just means you might not like it. And I mean, let's be completely honest. Like, we all know people in our lives who got really into Marvel or are still really into Marvel. But the second you try to talk to them about, a comic book, or if you try to show them a clip from Digimon, or if you try to show them a streamer, they just go, what are we doing here? Like, I don't really care about this. And that's the problem, is that when you try to make, once the mentality of everything is for everybody got ingrained, that changed the rules. So now everybody became focused on inclusivity. We got to make everything, essentially they got performative, because they now needed to go, oh, we're advertising ourselves. That's what all of this stuff is. Very rarely do you, when we see all these productions come out, right? A video game, a comic, very rarely does it just go, oh, there's an actor in it. Like, I think for lack of a better example, the best sort of example I can use right now is the Borderlands movie. With Borderlands, that movie's coming out. Kevin Hart is in it. We haven't heard one thing coming out going, Kevin Hart's finally giving representation to people in video game movies, yada, yada, yada. It's just been Kevin Hart is there. And that has kept the sort of backlash against it more focused on the quality rather than whatever message they're trying to throw out there. Because every other time we see it, it's, oh yeah, this movie stars a woman. Oh, this movie has a black person. Oh, this movie is based on this and this and this. They don't really care about any of that. They really just care, can I put this banner in my storefront window to get people to come in to buy it? Because again, we see so often that all of these like attempts at quote unquote diversity and inclusion, they end up being like the most mad racist things of all time. I will point back to the Thor comic where Miles was Thor and they made Asgard into freaking what was it? Was it Brooklyn? No, it was, I think it might have been Brooklyn.
Something.
It was some, or the Bronx, I think. It was something.
Yeah,
like, it was like
something like that.
It was like a not great neighborhood. And it's like, that's because, like Game Industry Truth is getting at, they're not writing these characters, and actually this is something that Ash Parrish tries to defend. They're not writing these characters as people. They are literally writing them as decoration, as window dressing. A few weeks ago, there was a bunch of discourse around Tekken because idiots on Twitter started going, wow, Tekken's so racist because the Native American chick wears Native American clothing and the Chinese chick wears Chinese clothing, blah, blah, blah. And Harada, the director, the game series creator of Tekken, not creator, but the main series director of Tekken, came out and basically said, here's my philosophy. Here's why we do this. One, it's not only fun and visually interesting, but in video games, especially in arcade games, when you have, how do you advertise your game? Your game is in a box where people are walking by and you have maybe 10 seconds to communicate what your product is, what is going on. So what do? Maybe you lean a little harder on the more iconic imagery. So somebody gets a native headdress, a black person gets, an African character gets more like native looking clothes. Stuff like that happens. And it's not necessarily racist. It's just shorthand to sort of communicate your idea faster. Now, take that's that same mentality that's being used in culture, but for more nefarious reasons. They are literally going, throw out, look, they're gay, they're black, they're whatever. Will you come buy our crap now? Like, this is what you want, right? And unfortunately, we see way too many people who go, oh yes, you've got that? Cool. I'm a good person now. Like I've really done it. I'm an ally. I've solved racism
amazing.
Because yeah, right. Or what movie was it, Jacob? The where it was like, don't buy a ticket so a black person could go watch it. Was that the second Black Panther?
Yeah, well, that was the first Black Panther, actually.
Okay, yeah. No, that's where we're at these days. Is that so? Yes, to this point, it is all fake. It's all marketing, and it's rainbow marketing. It's whatever you want. None of this matters. I mean, Cider pointed this out to me a few streams back, and I've laughed about it ever since, even though it was so obvious. But Cider, we were talking comic book characters and their what do you call them? Their legacy characters, and what happens when you race swap or gender swap or you sex swap or whatever. And Cider was like, do you not, like, everybody who eats this up, do you not see the fact that they're just giving you scraps? Like, you can have gay Superman, but he's not Superman. He's John Kent Superman, right? Like, you can have Black Batman, but it's not Bruce Wayne. It's this other guy, because it's all marketing. They don't really care about this stuff. The second the winds change in the industry, you're going to see them all go that way too. Look at the fact that every other developer was making a live service game up until 2 months ago, when they realized the floor had fallen out of that. Like,
well, it's the Doctor Who thing is the most perfect example of it. They couldn't bring themselves to have David Tennant.
Yes, I love this one.
Blur transition, like transition to white, into a black guy. They couldn't do it. They could bring, so they made him split so that they could canonize that the Doctor isn't technically black. There's a black Doctor, but it's not the Doctor. And
it's so it's so stupid. I love it so much. I always, that's the one I forgot to mention, but that is what it is. It's all shallow, and it's all, they will ruin. That's, they're ruining all of this entertainment, all of these canons for a quick buck. That is literally all it is. You want, how do non-binary whatever exist? How do yada yada yada? Who cares? Deal with it later in a guidebook somewhere. At least we got $80 from your ticket sales for you and your 3 friends who got tricked into seeing the movie. And Leslie brings it up. Imagine being so shallow that you won't see a movie or play a game because of a character's race, sex, etc. That's a lot of people these days. It's really, 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 really stupid. Like, you will see what, I mean, come on. You see that every day when there is a video game announced or a comic book. Why isn't this character black? We need more blank representation. And that's the sort of pitfall that all these companies have fallen into, right, Leslie? Is that these are the people you're talking about. These are the ones that they're catering to now. The very fair weather people who make their decisions based on what does this say about me? They don't really care about liking video games or liking comic books. The term, there's this term, I don't know if a lot of you know it. It's used a lot. It's semi-obscure, blah, 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 but it's called praxis. And it's basically the actions and things you do to support and promote your political ideas, right? So, like, if you were a conservative, getting married and having kids, that's good praxis because you're eschewing, or not eschewing, you're promoting those values. If you're like a liberal, going out and, I don't know, like adopting kids or giving food aid, that's good praxis because that's on your side. To these people, their praxis only extends as far as the media they consume. So they go, oh yeah, I can pat, like I was saying, I can pat myself on the back and say I was a good liberal ally because I consumed the capital R right media. And I don't know how we're going to change it because, or let me take that back. It's not that I don't know how we're going to change it. It's that we are very much seeing, huh?
I was just saying, you don't want to change it.
Well, I think they don't want to change it. We want to change it. But I think we are starting to see a shift in this very dumb race-based baiting. And the reason I posit that is because quite possibly the most race-baity project in recent years ever has absolutely crapped itself. So I have not seen this movie. I've only seen the trailer, but I know Josh covered the stats and you watched.
I'm not allowed to see this movie.
Yeah, you're not even allowed to order a ticket, okay?
Right. I'm not allowed.
So I guess let's see. Let's start with Jacob. You actually saw the movie. What's up with it? Tell us about the magical we need a beep.
Where do I start? Because there's a lot going on here, even before we get to the actual plot of this movie.
And guys, we're not asking him because he's black. He's the only person here who saw the movie.
Yeah.
I was the only
he's
one
right.
who was allowed to watch this movie.
It's true. I can't go see the American Society of Magic.
Yes,
that's
I get beat up if I go outside of the theaters for that.
That's about his son. That's not by like black people. So that's another concept. Anyway, so Justice Smith may quite literally be my least favorite actor in all of Hollywood right now. And I had a debate this week about who do I like less, him or Seth Rogen. And the fact I'm even asking myself this shows you just how bad Justice Smith actually is in reality. And he is the perfect Hollywood representation of a non-threatening, effeminate, gay black lead that they're just putting in all of these like terrible movies. The first time he really truly annoyed me was, if you guys remember Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, which is the second of the Chris Pratt movies that came out several years ago.
One.
And literally his entire dialogue, just him running around screaming for the entire movie. And it's like,
it's him running around screaming and then him getting girl bossed by his like the other intern, who, if you guys don't remember, was the chick from Cowboy Bebop, Daniela Pineda. Like, woo, what a casting. Woohoo!
Yeah, where'd her career go? Last time I saw her, and she was in Plane. So
yeah, I think that was it.
But yeah, Justice Smith is just like the absolute worst. He has no charisma whatsoever, no acting ability. He can't emote any kind of emotion outside of just submission and just being just like a whiny little bitch. Like, that's literally all he is in like every movie that I've ever seen him in. And he's the same way in this film. This is the plot of the American Society of Magical Negroes. So this is a movie about Justice Smith, who is a failed art seller in Los Angeles. He's trying to sell this piece of yarn he threw on like a wire hanger or something like that, and nobody understands it, so they don't want to buy it. So he ends up running into David Allen Greer's character here, because he's like, yeah, you know what? You're so great at making white people comfortable. You'll be perfect for this job that I have for you down here. So they have this like Kingsman style, like, you know, intro where they go to the barbershop and the barber has to like pull a lever and then the walls like move around and all this old stuff. And it turns out that this is literal dialogue from the film. If you guys caught my review later this week, you know I'm not making any of this up. According to this movie, the most dangerous animal in the world is a white man when he is uncomfortable. So in order to keep white people comfortable, because if they're not comfortable, black people get killed, they have a magical society of magical Negroes who go around to essentially comfort white people to keep them from killing blacks. And that's quite literally the entire plot of this movie. So because Justice Smith is such an effeminate, non-threatening, absolute vagina of a human being, he decides that, you know what, you'll be perfect at keeping white people comfortable because you do it every day of your life anyway. So they add him out here to be the magical Negro for this white ad executive, or like something kind of executive. And it wasn't very clear what the company actually did, but apparently because he's dealing with a scandal right now because he's involved in like facial recognition technology, but the facial recognition can't I guess capture black people, and it's because
I knew that was coming.
He didn't have any true diversity when he was putting this thing together. So that's a fault of his white privilege, like in the movie. So he has to go there.
Say that?
Yes.
Oh my god! I thought you were making a joke.
No,
okay,
no, it's not even a joke. This is literally the plot of the film. So he has to go and shadow this buffoon who's like I said, a non-threatening white liberal person who's like, hey, you know, I don't have a problem with like black people, but he doesn't understand his privilege, so he doesn't realize he's still part of the problem, even though he claims that he's not a racist. So it's one of those type of guys. Yeah.
I can't find the news story right now, but like, I don't know, something like 10 years ago, maybe or so, there was this office that converted to like having fully automated bathrooms. So like the lights would come on when you walked in, the soap dispenser, the thing, but it didn't register black people. So every time the black employees wanted to go to the bathroom, they had to have a white escort to activate everything in the bathroom for them. I'm not kidding you. This actually happened, and their solution was to have a white escort take them to the bathroom.
just sitting there, just taking a crap in the bathroom. All of a sudden, the lights go off, and they can't come back on until a white person comes in.
I mean, that's just gonna
Jeremy,
be that's just the plot of
wave your
Magical
arm.
Negroes too. Yeah, that's just Magical Negroes too.
That's two. That's two. The lights won't come on.
Yeah.
That's the subtitle.
This film literally has no plot. I'm not even trying to pretend like this film has no plot. The only thing is that he's chaperoning this white guy the entire time, where other magical Negro foolishness is happening in and out of the plot. And the whole, I guess, plot here or counterplot is that Justice Smith is working with the white guy, that he meets some vaguely, let's say, racially ambiguous woman at the office, but the white guy has a crush on her too, but you know, he can't step in because he has to put the feelings of the white man first, because he's trying to keep black people from getting killed by white people, so he has to let the girl go. And they tried to pretend like somehow there's like a love triangle in this film, where at no point in this movie do you ever believe that, one, they have no chemistry whatsoever, and two, even if they did, no one would ever believe that Justice Smith will be into women, because he's not. So even on film, like, this looks absolutely ridiculous. So this is your plot for the entire 2 hours here. We're just like struggling along, like it's like literally like being dragged on like broken glass that's just like stretching out for like a football field length. And then at the very end of the movie, here's the setup. The white guy is like, he's trying to redeem himself with this big presentation. He wants Justice to be there. And at the very last minute, right before he walks on stage, it's like, yeah, you know, you'll be very proud because this I guess, conference or meeting or whatever is about diversity. And then just when Justice Smith just has a complete mental breakdown, because he's like, you only had me here because I'm black, and then you wants to talk about diversity, and the guy's like, no, like that's not even remotely what I say. Like, he's like, all I just want to do is live, man. I just want to live, but I can't live. I'm living in this country, the United States of America, that just wants to kill people like us every day. And he literally goes on to, you know, the America Ferrera monologue in Barbie.
Oh, it's so hard
like
to be.
Yeah, so he basically does his version of this, except for it's for black people, and it's America is terrible because white people just want to kill them all the live long day, and then that's quite literally the end of the movie.
So how many nominations from the Academy next year?
For this film, I would have to say probably -0.
Just
by the way,
I mean,
by the way,
yes,
Super Bass gifted 5 more memberships. Thank you very much. It's 10 total tonight.
You truly
Right,
are.
None for Josh. Don't give Josh a single one.
Super Bass, I don't know. You're gonna have to change your name now because Super Bass is not cutting it, man.
Hyper
It's
Bass.
gonna be like
Super
I was gonna say hyper based, beta based at this
Hyper-based,
point.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish I could help with the rally, but I'm not in the chat tonight. I'm on the stream. But thank you so much, Super Based. You kick ass. There's no other way to put it.
Now,
But-
before we
so-
do move on to this, from this, Volume Dealer has a question. Is this an indie film?
No, this is a movie that was distributed by Focus Features and is being distributed, I think, outside of the US by Universal. So this is being adopted by major studios. So this film, we talked about it here. It got released in the theaters last week. It was only in about roughly 1,100 screens, but it only barely made $1 million over the weekend. Absolutely no one wanted to sit there and sit through this absolute dog water garbage of a movie.
No.
And like you said, it's just as racist as you think the film is. It's just as insufferable as lecturing. Like, and here's the other thing. What's his name? Kobe Labrie, who's the writer and director of this film, who you guys may know from fucking nothing, because that's literally what he's done his entire career. So
Got him.
Soon to be the director of Avengers 5.
probably. But so if you guys don't know who this guy is, apparently he was on like Jordan like Clapper's show or Tap, whatever that dude's name is on comedy. So he's one of these plethora of Daily Show clones that we've created over the last 15 years, right? And he looks like a dead ringer for Justice Smith. So what you're realizing here is that he quite literally uses Justice Smith as an avatar for his life, complaining about what his life is living in Los Angeles of all places. And this is what absolutely just kills me about these people. These aggressively woke liberals, especially the black ones who live in cities like Los Angeles and think that they're just under absolute fire from racism, living in LA of all places, where everyone in your entire town goes out of their way to make you feel as comfortable and to pander to every single one of your causes you can possibly ever think of. Like they literally, quite literally, like worship the ground you walk in, kissing your feet. And you're talking
We've
about
seen
that,
the videos.
It's like, oh my God, it's so hard for me as a half black man to live in this disgustingly racist country that just wants to see people like me dead. It's like, first of all, you're barely black, right? Like my favorite term from Jason Whitlock said, this guy was what you guys call a African American. He's only half black, and he's sitting over here pretending like that. He's just like living the life of like the worst Tyrone of the entire like. Sometimes I don't want to hurt these people. I just want to make that very, very clear though. But I do want to aggressively shake someone. Like sometimes, that's what I just want to like. I don't know. Maybe just a couple of like paint brushes, but nothing too bad. But
every like that's what I've been saying. Every like month we should have like an open arena where people can line up and like all the celebrities and the politicians or stuff. They like get in stocks and we're allowed to like throw things at them. Throw things. Right, like things that'll not necessarily like kill them, but
gummy bears.
Yeah, gummy bears, marshmallows.
Just gummy bears. Yeah,
but like this whole film is this whole film is just projection. The movie that's quite literally like what it is. It's just pure unadulterated projection. This whole idea that, well, if we don't keep white people comfortable, then the black ones are going to die. It's like, really? Have we forgot about what's happened in this country the last 4 years? Didn't we have like a major summer-long riot that like 60 people died from and like $2 billion
there was no riot
happened?
I don't remember a riot. Like, I remember some protests, but not a riot.
Did we forget the LA riots or the Watts riots or the Michael Brown riots and all the like? Who's the one who's more likely to get violent when people get uncomfortable? Like, so like, what are we doing here?
Here's what it kills me about that, because you're completely right. Like, you go, especially in California, like all of these neoliberal causes, liberal causes, it could be it could be literally anything. And if you say like, we're doing it for some underrepresented group, you'll get $1 million in funding, right? California is not the place where you make that sort of argument. America is not the place where you make that sort of argument. But again, it goes back to, that's the marketing angle. But it's so sinister because I don't know how many of them understand that it's a marketing angle and not like an actual personal angle, because who it's marketing to, and it is that very, very specific core of super sheltered, like young neoliberal kids, not necessarily just white, like any of them, from New York, San Francisco, San Diego, or LA, like all of these spots, they're so sheltered that the only ideas they have about what's going on outside are what they get from the media, what they get from social media, from their entertainment.
Or their own industry.
Right, exactly. And so, like, if you go outside, none of this is like this. There's always fear mongering. I mean, do we, to use a super extreme example, like, remember the coof? It was, do you want to kill grandma? Like, you're going to go out and you're going to kill everybody. Like, it's that kind of stuff.
These people who live in like multi-millionaire mansions in Los Angeles, or at the very worst, a starter home somewhere in like Garden Grove or like, 1,000 Oaks or something like that. Right. These people live in a world where it's like LA and New York are the only two safe places in the entire country. And then everywhere else is just Selma in like 1924. It's like, if I step one foot or in this flyover town here, I might get lynched, because that's just what happens to people every single day.
I mean, to me, to go tinfoil hat for a second, like, this is so, like, it's so representative of what, gosh, for lack of a better term, like the elites want, because they want everybody focused on these small divisions so that we don't, pay attention to everything they're doing. They want all of us at each other's throats over microaggressions, right? Like, until last week, when the Sweet Baby Ink lady like brought that, like when her talk came back, like what's the word? Like, it resurfaced and she was talking about microaggressions. I was like, are we still doing this? What does that even mean? Like, and especially like if you don't explain it, it just means existing, right? Like, oh, all these white people do microaggressions to me. Okay, what are they? I don't have to educate, it's all a grift. It's a giant, the DEI stuff is a giant grift. It's a giant industry where you hire your friends, you give out money, and you make everybody hate each other so that you can keep farting it up in your Hollywood mansion. Like, that's 100% what it is.
Yeah. Like I said, you basically become a absolute pariah in society, and then you essentially craft a narrative like, well, if anyone gets rid of me, it's because they have some kind of unsolved racial bias against people like me. It's like, no, maybe you're just a twat. You ever thought about that? You ever thought that maybe you're just not pleasant to be around? It's the same thing with the whole argument of like women in video games. Like, ever thought maybe there's a reason no one wanted you here in the first place? Like maybe people just love playing Call of Duty and saying the N-word in peace, and everyone was happy. It was a fond memory of their childhood, and then you guys came along and be like, oh, can we change a couple of things? No, we don't want to change anything around here. We were fine before you showed up.
It's like the thing where if you have all of us know that person who, no matter, we all know wrestling is, the events are scripted, right? Like they have a story, they play that all out. A lot of the hits are real, but a lot of that is scripted out, and people who watch wrestling like know that. I know that. I'm a casual fan, right? I know it's fake, but that doesn't matter. We understand that. We suspend our disbelief. We enjoy it for what it is. There's always that one person who goes, actually, that's all fake, right? Like when you bring it up, and nobody likes that guy, because it's like, dude, we know. Who are you trying to be better than here? Who are you trying, like, what are you trying to gain? And it's the exact same thing with industries and progress, right? Where they, a lot of people go, oh, the video game industry never had a lot of women before, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it did, but what now? Like we've completely moved past that. You have no argument here. Yeah.
Okay.
What do we got
All
here?
right, so we have a super chat from Superbased. He wants to know, can the panel recommend their favorite Captain America arc from the comics, preferably pre-Disney?
I definitely can. Can anybody else? I know I'm a giant comic nerd, so I'll make sure I don't start the topic. Anybody else? Does anybody else have one?
It's not exclusive.
I'm gonna say I like the one where Captain America broke his shield and then denounced United. Wait, that was recently. That was Never mind. Never mind. You answer that one.
I love when he turned out to be a secret Hydra agent.
No. Okay, I got one. I love the one where they turned Captain America into a Nazi. Oh wait, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was.
I'll come with one. Go, sir.
Yeah. So I was thinking of Civil War. It's not exclusive to him, but I think Cap really shined throughout that whole thing.
Yeah.
Granted, Tony got the short end of the stick of the argument because it's really hard to take the government side in that mess.
Yeah.
But Cap really shines. Like the whole situation was really encapsulating the debate we were having over Guantanamo. That was really at the core of that. I don't like having current events put into comics. I actually hate that a lot. Mm-hmm. I agree with Stan Lee when he said way back in the day that when you do that, the stories you base the politics out of age as fast as that politics does. So you just don't do that. You create a timeless truth out of the event, but it was very tied to Guantanamo, but it's still an argument we're having today. Is aggressive torture, is unlawful imprisonment, is indefinite imprisonment without a charge, like, good? Is that considered security?
Is there a situation where that's warranted? That's what we were always debating that.
Right. Yep. So.
Oh, I got one. I like the one where they turned Captain America into a black guy. And then
Nope.
Dang.
I'll come up with one.
I'll come up with one. I love that refrain. I love that moment from the end of Civil War where Cap stops fighting because he sees all the civilians are against his side. I always thought that was a super good Cap moment, and really it encapsulates who he is. I think as far as arcs go, it's, again, I'm with Cider. One of mine is not specifically him, but it is Infinity Gauntlet, the first one, because it has the best Cap moment where Thanos has erased everybody, he's beaten everybody, and it's Thanos and Captain America at the end of the universe, and Cap is he just walks towards him, and Thanos is are you I'm going to beat you, what are you going to do? And Cap's I go down until the last second, and then he just he gets snapped right before he comes to Thanos. But I'm that's a really good Cap moment. But in terms of specific arcs, I'm a really, really, really big fan of Ed Brubaker's run in, 2007, where he reintroduced the Winter Soldier, and it's the run that ends with Cap getting shot. I think he did it's a really, really good spycraft story, good political espionage without, like Cider said, specifically dating it. I thought that as against the fact of bringing back Bucky as I was at the time, I think the way they handled it was really, 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 really good. And honestly, if that whole arc or if that whole run had just ended with Cap getting shot on the steps after Civil War, that would have been fine. But then they had to do the whole comic book thing where they're like, oh, but it was a magic time travel bullet, and now his mind is going back into his different bodies from the past, which is what Batman just did in Final Crisis like a year ago. And so it got like really convoluted then. But Cap being like more, I don't want to like grounded is the, I don't know if that's the right term, but you know, less the super time travel-y cosmic stuff and more the, you know, on the ground military stuff. That's the sort of Cap stuff I super like. That's all I've got. Yep. Did you finally come to one, Jacob? I'm kidding.
No, I got nothing.
But I wanted to bring this up. I don't know if he's still here, if he's in the bathroom or anything. But Josh, are you here?
No, he's on the
ground. I was just doing something else. I'm listening though, but yeah,
you're doing something else. Well, I wanted to bring up this specific point because we were talking about it, where Jacob said that the Magical Society, that Justice Smith was like a self-insert. What was that interview we were talking? Like, remember that interview we were looking at that you talked about? Like, wasn't that exactly what Justice was doing? Like,
well, it's in the article, like, right? So it's in the article as well. I think it was with the Hollywood Reporter. It's in my article. I don't know if we had it there. Just so we can pull it up. But basically, they were playing the victimization game, right? So, and they were kind of like recounting their stories with racism, and I was like, mate, this is completely made up. Like, I do not believe for a second that you have like all of these white people coming, you know, asking you for like advice because they feel like they've been, I don't know, racist or whatever. So they just kind of become the shoulder to cry on. And I'm like, at first I wasn't believing it. Like I said, I just don't quite buy it. But the problem is that I do actually believe it because they live in that bubble, that very liberal bubble where like every single one of these white snowflakes, they kind of come to them and they're like, I'm sorry. And basically they just start licking the boots, you know? So,
that is what it is.
I don't know. I do actually kind of believe it. And watching Alan Green just kind of going like, oh yeah, this happened to me as well in the 70s or whatever. And I'm like, no, probably not. So but it's like, I don't know. It's like the kind of experience that I think they want everyone to believe they had in the movie. I mean, in the movie, because they're trying to represent the movie.
Right. Well, if you watch that interview, you can sort of see it. Like Justice Smith's, like that whole point you just brought up. So there is a point in this interview. It's just a regular THR promotional interview for the movie, blah, blah, blah. And it's like David Alan Grier, Justice, and the director, right? Like whatever his name was that Jacob said that we don't know him from.
Levy, so whatever.
Yeah. And they're talking about their experiences with racism or whatever. And that's one thing Justice brings up. He's like, I don't really know. Like, I've had friends who, you know, come to me and ask, and like sometimes they think they've done something racist or whatever, and they kind of ask me about it. And it's very weak. But then I don't remember if it's Grier or the director, but they say some term like that's emotional. And Justice is like, oh yeah, it is that bad.
Confession.
And it's like, yeah. Like racial confession or whatever. Yeah, racist confession. And Justice was like, oh yeah, I never had a name for it, but that's exactly what it is. Like, and I'm just like, you're so performative. Like, you're just what is it, like yes anding, like, okay, yeah, that was right, yeah, that was right, because this is what also pisses me off about that sort of thinking. And also it relates to that concept that we see a lot where all the DEI people go, you know, I'm not here to educate you. You need to go, you know, engage with our literature or whatever. You need to do the work yourself.
Which means it's I can't defend my own argument.
It 100% means I can't defend my own argument, but it's also like you guys are the ones who said this isn't okay. So if I'm asking you why, you should be able to explain it to me. It's not necessarily saying put in the labor, but it's like sometimes people don't know. So you're just going to say it's a way to automatically set somebody like on the back foot in any interaction by automatically presuming that everything they're going to do is completely racist.
Right. So, one thing that I've been mentioning, like, I didn't actually mention it in the article, but whatever. Like, people, I think, kind of like see him and they go like, well, he's not quite black, is he? So, he is a bit mixed, right? So I just went on Wikipedia, obviously. But this is funny though, because basically Wikipedia, what it says is his father is black. That's, the one side. And the other one is, and his mother is of Italian and French Canadian descent. Nowhere do they say
Canada.
It's like, no, they're just trying to hide the fact that she's white. And it's just kind of going like, oh no, she's Italian and French Canadian.
Oh no, that's 100%.
Yeah, but yeah, and the father is what? Is black? No, he's not from Africa or like from Samoa. No.
Look, I want to ask a serious question here. We've been joking a lot here, but let's get serious here for a moment. Like,
brace yourselves.
Is Canada like the worst country ever?
Yes.
Like,
no.
Yeah.
Can you think of anything worse than Canada at this point?
Only England, because that's where Canada came from.
I gotta be honest, I have more respect for England at this point.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least England gave us like the US, like that was okay. Yeah, no, I don't really know what Canada's got for us now.
Like, what are those mother knuckers doing at this point? It's like
they come over here, they steal all of our comedy jobs, and they make everything worse.
They make everything worse. It's like
that's the real.
I'm starting to think that we built the wall on the wrong border. Like I might unironically respect Mexico more than Canada at this point. I didn't think I was going to say that, especially 15 years ago.
Canada did praise a Nazi.
Oh, I totally forgot about that. Whoa,
I did do that. They really did do that.
But it was no. He was not like a Nazi. He's a Ukrainian Nazi. That one is acceptable.
Very different.
Let's just send all of the taxpayer money in weapons to Ukraine, and I'm obviously Canada, right? So,
yep.
I mean, they
unleashed
the Drake.
My gosh,
they unleashed Seth Rogen, Justin.
That's
Bieber,
exactly what Hates Me and HG just said. He said Canada unleashed Drake on the world.
Well, Jacob, and also Kanye's fitness trainer, who was apparently brainwashing him with lithium, is from the PSYOP section of Canada's deep state. So, no, that's real. That's real.
The one who was like, no, I believe you. I was just trying to remember the guy. It's the guy who said, like, if you don't be quiet, like, I'll put you on enough meds to like not kill you, but like erase you or whatever. Problem. Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, no, I mean
Canada.
Just look at Trudeau. Just
see this
done.
The guy I used to be a roommate with way back when we were younger, the whole thing that he had about Canada was like, it's actually the scariest country on earth because it leads you into it's like that anglerfish. It leads you into thinking that it's this dopey place with beavers and bacons and Uncle Buck, and they don't do anything but hang out and drink Tim Hortons and play hockey. Meanwhile, it's hell on earth.
It actually is. Like,
and they salute Nazis over there.
And every time someone tries to like defend Canada, they'll sit there and be like, well, Alberta isn't as bad as like the rest of the country. And it's like, okay, so the rest of the country is California, and on this one slither on the west coast before you get to the coast, it's like, okay, maybe they're kind of Austin, Texas at best. Like, that's pretty much what you have.
Yep, see Seth Rogen too, Justin Bieber. Leslie says Alex Trebek, but that was in the before times. Was like the last good cultural. Yeah, that was the last good cultural export.
There's only two people. There's only two cool people who have ever come out of Canada: Bret Hart and Norm Macdonald. That's it. Everyone else can go back.
That's true. Like you have to
go. They're both dead.
Mike Myers and the Austin Powers series.
He has to go back. He was allowed here for a little while, but at this point he needs to go back.
Yeah.
George Bush doesn't like black people.
I love that's like my favorite. I love that moment so much, and he's just like standing there.
That was like the world's greatest layup of all time. It's like
right, and he's just frozen. Like, that's nice, Kanye.
Do I say something about black people now, or do
I? Yeah, right. Like,
but fellas, from the storied heights of forced diversity to actual storytelling, we have a great announcement from the
actual
Riververse.
Storytelling. Yes, folks, in case you didn't see it, hot off the heels of Yaira, which is an ironic statement to say because she's an ice power or an ice-based superhero. But yes, the Rippaverse is finally doing what all good comic book publishers have done, and they are launching a horror title. So for those of you who don't know the character or the book, it is a Bloodruth solo book. You probably saw her in Isom #2 if you picked that up. Right now, details are very, very scarce on what the book is going to be. What we do know is that it is a horror title written by the Soska sisters who did Yaira, and it is drawn by, oh man, what's his name? Michael Morinado, I believe. Something like that. It's in this article. It's in all the announcements. I feel
Michael
really bad.
Montaigne. Oh boy, I hate
Montaigne.
French names.
Yeah, let's just show it to them.
Michael Montenant.
Yes, Montenant.
Yeah, sorry, it's a French name, okay? And we're not French.
we're thank God, but we're definitely trying. But yeah, so what's really cool about Michael is that he's actually he was the winner of the Isom fan art contest. So that means, you know, he showed his stuff, Eric and everybody liked it, and so they said, "Hey, do you want to come aboard?" They've released one preview page. It's in the article. It's a little whiles down if you want to go check it out. But it looks a lot like if anybody out there read the Green Arrow run from Jeff Lemire and Andrea Sorrentino. I always forget how to say his name, but it looks a lot like that. Very gothic, creepy, very, very horror based. So we'll be on the lookout for that. Basically, yeah, bringing it to your attention. Again, unfortunately, we don't know a lot about the details yet. It's still being worked on. But basically, what's the word? What am I? Onwards and upwards for the Rippaverse. Like, I'm pretty stoked that they're killing it. This is the sort of stuff we need, right? The parallel economy we've always been talking about. Make your indies, get out there and do it. I don't know if you guys have seen, but there's some Twitter account called like Buy Indie Comics. It's supposed to promote all the indies and yada, yada, yada. And they came out today and they were like, we will never support Eric July because he's a racist who supports people with gross view, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, so on one side, right. It's like on one side, Eric's getting like called, Yahtzee. And then there are some like Comicsgate people who are calling him an SJW. So it's like, I think if you're pissing off both of the super extremes, you've got to be doing something right. Oh no, someone going to be triggered. Yeah, unfortunately, we do see that a lot coming out of the Rippaverse. I have seen a lot of people just kind of doing the most bad faith interpretations of what they've put out, right? Like, oh, Yaira's, or what was it? The live action trailer. There's a moment where after the guy like drops, Yaira like moves a cop out of the way. It's either like right before or right after, right? Guy smashes the car. Yaira's like, watch out. And somebody on Twitter was getting in July's like face about, oh, it's so woke. Why did Yaira even have to like move the male police officer? Oh, because she's better than him or whatever. And everybody's like, did you not did you not see the panel or the shot that happens like right before it? She's just looking out for the guy's like life. So yeah, it is really weird. At some point there are just those people you can't win over that just want to hate on whatever you put out, no matter how good it is. And you just got to keep on keeping on. Right.
Right. Well, volume dealer. What's that?
Rather, I remember that before, like at the very beginning, people were kind of going like, well, but the Isom character is obviously a self-insert. And I'm like, bro, who gives a crap? Like, it's his character. It's not really, it's not like, how do you call it? It's not like Miles Morales. They were practically treating him like that. And I'm like, no, it's his own character. He can do whatever he wants. Like absolutely anything.
You can make it a self-insert character. Lots of characters are self-insert characters. It's just about how do you when I read that character, is it like, oh, I'm Spencer X and I'm the bestest ever and I have all the powers and I've never struggled and I'm the chosen savior. It's like, okay, that's stupid. But if you just have a character yeah, it literally is Ray. As soon as I hit the punctuation, I was like, that was literally just Ray Skywalker. But yeah, like you can self-insert all you want. It always boils down to how you're writing. And yeah, especially if it's your own thing, who really cares? You're not like even more than Miles, I would say the worst self-insert I can think of still is Mariko Tamaki with her I am not Starfire's daughter, where it made Starfire into this abusive, ditzy mom because she wanted her daughter to go to college and take the SATs and just talk to her. And it looks exactly like Mariko, and it just ruined the entire like character, or it didn't ruin her, but it stomped all over it for that outing. So yeah, there's nothing particularly wrong with self-inserts. It's always about it's always the execution. It's
the only problem with self-inserts is that you're not interesting enough to validate
yes.
Which
is what we get a lot nowadays.
So I was about to make like a joke about Brian Michael Bendis creating a black character, even though obviously not a self-insert though. But it wouldn't. Do you think that it would have worked in 2020 post 2016 election? Brian Michael Bendis creating like a black character, and people not calling him out because it's like, why are you writing this black character? And
he did. That was what Naomi was. He did it. He did it twice. When he went over to DC, he made Naomi, who was Miles Morales, but better. So like if Miles Morales is the better Spider-Man, Naomi was basically the better Superman. Like if it is in service of the message, obviously it doesn't matter what color you are, right? No, it doesn't. It doesn't matter if any of that makes sense. If it like, you don't put kids who've done like one heroic thing on the Avengers or the Justice League. That's what pissed me off about Naomi is Bendis made her character, and it was like I was annoyed already at first because DC was like, the best new thing ever, it's Naomi, she's coming, and it's like, whatever, okay, you're trying too hard, you're pandering. Her mini came and went, she went away for a little bit, but then they were like, oh, now she's on the Justice League, and you had Superman, Bendis was writing Justice League, and Bendis is writing Superman to be like, she has all the best potential. We need to curve it and direct it and guide it. She's so strong. And it's like, she's a child and she's done nothing. She doesn't need to be on the Justice League next to Batman and Wonder Woman and Flash and Black Adam. Like, it's so, I don't know. But all that to say, he did it and it works, Josh, because what you're forgetting is that as like to them, if you create like he's being a good ally, he's making the representation. Don't you let him try and define the character or give him a real or like any solid story, but at least he made it. You're a good ally. Like that's all it boils down to mostly. Right. I mean, remember they greenlit New Warriors with like the most offensively stereotyped like liberal caricatures of all time. And I mean, like, I would find it offensive.
And what was
Snowflake, Safe Space, the chick who was just fat and used like, and like that was her power or whatever. Like she had a magic bag. Like again, it's all marketing to them. Does Naomi hit all these right points? She's black. She's a girl. She's the strongest ever in the DCU. Cool. I don't really care what you do with her after that. I don't really care if she has a character. Go. Because again, guys, right? Like Miles Morales gets all of this push. He's in every video game. He's in every show now. He's in every merchandise line. He's on all the shirts. But when you go to the comic books, what can you guys really actually tell me about his personality? There's nothing. We have basically his Spider-Verse origin story, right? Which is like his dad is a cop. His dad dies in the line of duty. Yada, yada. Okay, that's where the originality ends with Miles. Because then you have him fighting Peter's villains. And then you have him fighting vampires, which is like, what are you even doing over there, Marvel? They don't know what to do with him because they've turned him into that prop. So there's nothing to really fall back on except, put this new action figure in a different diorama. Oh, that's what we're doing. It doesn't really matter if he fits in these dioramas. We're just going to sort of keep putting him here until we find one that sort of actually works and we can make a video game off of it and then retcon it next week.
So interesting question, because I was thinking about completely off track. Like I just started thinking about Star Wars, right? So I think it was in the Obi-Wan series with the black villain, I forget the name. The one that is obviously like you introduce a character, the black angry woman. In Star Wars.
Who are you talking about?
No,
in Star Wars. Reva?
I forget. Yes.
Right? Obi-Wan, the chick from Obi-Wan.
So I'm just thinking, because what have you seen any villains like come up in the, because people are like, oh no, I want to create this superhero. I want to do this. He's going to be the best ever. But I don't see villains being created.
Does he fly?
Do they fly now?
Do they fly now? But
it's an Eric July joke. It's an Eric July joke. It was in the opening trailer to Yaira. Yeah. It's just an Eric July joke.
Yeah,
that was an Eric July one, and then I went and I took it to Star Wars. But yeah, I got the Eric July bit. That was on me. I flipped the joke too soon.
Yeah. So I'm thinking. So
yeah.
Are there any new? Because that's a villain that they actually didn't want to turn into a villain. Is obviously the new character of the whatever show that is never going to get made.
Mm-hmm.
But the character itself, can they actually create a villain that is not all about revenge? It's not a revenge story, because I just don't see it. Like everything coming out of, it's always a revenge story, because they can't really think of like good traits to like include. I don't know. It's just like,
well, because
villainize a character.
There's two elements.
It's always a revenge story, and then no, but we got to redeem that person.
It's always a revenge story with a redeemable person because of. So yeah, like I said, there's two elements. It's always the first is that it's always a revenge story with a redeemable villain, because remember, that is like the core thing a lot of these writers are holding on to, right? Like I've used the term before, arrested development. A lot of these writers are stuck in high school, and the way they approach their media, like their jobs and stuff, is now that I have a platform, now that I have power, I'm going to get back at Jack, who, made fun of me in science class. I'm going to go get back at Nate, who rejected me. And I know he likes Pokemon, so I'm going to go ruin, and that's just whatever, right? Like that's the mentality they have nowadays. So that's what they put into their stories. It's revenge, because it's always about somebody getting what they deserve, getting payback, giving them what they deserve. But they have to have the redeemable villain, because that's them. They're seeing themselves. They're trying to rationalize that, all of my narcissistic, revenge fantasies about my bully from 9th grade and the lengths I will go to justify it and be okay with it, that like I need to be able to sleep at night. So I'm going to write that, all of these characters can be redeemed. Anybody can come back from the brink. Like nobody's truly bad. Like I was thinking about this earlier today, Josh, where a lot of times we start seeing these villains written as sympathetic characters, right? Like, you should feel bad for them. Like they don't really blame them for what happened. It's out of their control. And it's like, there's a difference between writing a sympathetic character and a character you can have sympathy for, right? Like, for example, if we hear about like, let's say, oh gosh, I don't know what is going to get us tagged on YouTube, but somebody who is disgruntled and mass bangs around, right? Oftentimes we will hear reports afterwards where people go, something happened to them. Maybe they were abused. Maybe they just didn't have like the right way out. And that's not necessarily, I mean, in the past, before we got into the current Biden administration where everybody just gets a revolving ticket, it was more, we presented those facts not to say they should be forgiven, but to give context. And, people can be sympathetic. You can go, man, that sucks. Your abuse really sucks. But at the same time, it's really bad that you went out and perpetrated it on somebody else. Like that doesn't happen anymore. Nowadays, it's, oh yeah, that was really bad, but you're not to blame for it. Don't even you're so okay. And it's just like, no.
Yeah.
Not the same thing.
Haves Me in HD is actually bringing up a thing that I was going to bring up. Right. So he goes like, she goes like, wait, even Trump? And I was like, no, that at that point you just commit to making them a stand-in, like the Harvey Weinstein character in the Black Widow movie, or like the Donald Trump character villain in the Wonder Woman movie. And it's like
Wonder Woman,
you have those characters that are not redeemable because they stand-ins for whatever they is that they hate. In this case, politics or like whatever, right?
No, that's a really good point. Yeah, the stand-ins are irredeemable because they're supposed to be, their opponents. And then what was the second? I don't even remember the point I jumped off of. What were you talking about, Josh? Because I had a second point, and now I just don't even remember what it is.
Miles Morales.
Miles Morales, Star Wars,
Force diversity, super villains. Well, he was saying that super villains always have a revenge story.
That was right. So, I actually, before he brought up the revenge story point, Josh was sort of asking, like, do they ever write any villains anymore that don't have a revenge story? Right?
They come up with new characters, because you come up with new superheroes like every day. But did you actually come up with villains? Like,
Yeah, Cider actually does. But it's funny because I saw a tweet like yesterday or something from just somebody, don't know who, was on my feed, and they had like retweeted the Acolyte trailer, and they were joking like, all right, boys, like time for a Star Wars drinking game. Take a shot every time you see like a male character, a white character, a straight character or whatever being like in a position that they're not being made fun of and are actually like contributing to the plot. Just kidding. You're never going to get drunk. Have fun. See you next show. And I was laughing, but then I realized that surprisingly, there's been one fluke, and I will absolutely label it as a fluke. And that was Balin from Ahsoka. He didn't care really about revenge. He cared about, I'm like my power, what I'm doing, get the hell out of my way. And he was treated as like a very serious threat. Now, I don't know if that would have lasted into season 2. Like, I feel if he ever actually came to blows with Ahsoka and Sabine and everybody, it would just be another girl boss moment. But I was surprised to realize like there's at least that they got at least one broken clock's right once a day if it only has one hand, and they got it with Balin. Like, I can't be mad at Balin, and I'm glad Stevenson is dead because they don't have to do anything anymore, or like they can't run him over, even though they will. Thanos 2024. Thanos did nothing wrong at this point. Fine, vote him in. What?
No, you know what he did wrong? It was random. That was his mistake.
I'm just gonna kill everything. You should have gotten rid of Canada right there. Just divide North America in half. Canada and then America and Mexico.
He should have got rid of only Canada, and it would have been much better.
We could have moved all the, remember in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's like, oh, we're all displaced now. And it's like, that's fine. Send you to Canada. There's tons of free real estate there now. We can try.
It's like, oh, no, Thanos snapped Canada out of existence. And I was like, maybe it's for the best.
Do we have to get the Avengers? I don't know. Call the Young Avengers. They can deal with it.
So you asked about a villain that doesn't do revenge. Well, I went and I decided to create a villain like that.
Yes.
So I created the Colossals, and their first adversary is the grandson of Delilah Church right here, in blonde, and the guy in the background with the red Super Saiyan hair and the glowy palm there is her grandson. And her grandson, his name is Aziz, and he believes that magic should be free reign, that you should be able to cure disease with it, that you should be able to stop wars, that you should be able to live forever with it. It should be available on a vending machine anywhere you go. And she understood, Delilah understands that that's the pathway to chaos. The world will come undone in seconds with that kind of free reign with magic. Like, he doesn't believe it.
Unfettered access, yeah.
And so they've been adversaries for thousands of years. And so this is a villain that is dug into the belief that magic being gatekept is why disaster, doom, destruction, misery, and death exist on Earth. And his grandmother hoarding all of it, keeping the world from the splendor of absolute control of reality, is the greatest crime to him. So like in an actual villain sense, he thinks he's the hero. He thinks he's the one saving the world, and she's the one that's destroying it.
And like, see, that is a good like story. It's different, it's original, and it's sort of, I think that's what a lot of these productions miss nowadays, is that you can't like stop trying to redeem the absolute worst elements of everybody, because like, okay, Inigo there, he has like a motivation to do his thing, and it's a genuine motivation, and it's sort of like you can understand it even if you know that the end result is going to blow up into chaos. To that, like sort of what I was saying earlier, it's a sympathetic goal. Even like I can sympathize with like your reasons for doing it, even if I know they're not good and what you're doing is bad. Like I can understand, maybe not sympathize, but I can understand where you're coming from, and
or at least from your perspective, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, 100%. Most writers just go so cartoony with everything that, and they try to make the villains redeemable, that you're just like, I don't know. Like, you've completely missed the mark. I was talking, I know this is like months old now, but I was talking with a friend over the past weekend about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And the thing I hold as the game's probably biggest script failure among many is that they put you in the shoes of the squad, and that means you're supposed to, sympathize, or not sympathize, but like relate, connect with them. They're the heroes. But at the same time, you have these heroes going out and doing just the most reprehensible shit absolutely possible. You have Harley, doing double standard sex assault on Deadshot. You have pissing on Flash. You have cutting off Green Lantern's finger. You have blowing like Batman away with a gun. All of that stuff, none of that is redeemable or sympathetic, but they frame it as it is supposed to be. Like, that's how all of this stuff is. And I think if we look again, if we step back and go to a meta sense, like, what is cancel culture but this sort of stuff, right? It's I want it my way. I'm going to do it my way. And I'm going to just bowl over anybody who doesn't let me have my way. And I'm going to make you the jokes of all my movies and the villains in all my shows. And it's going to be so great.
If only we could just turn a bunch of purple hell feminists into the villains of literally every movie and television show for the next 20 years.
Have you seen Midsommar? That was one of those movies that like did have that message, and then people took the wrong message away from it.
Shocker.
I know, right? Hey, it's me in HD says, isn't the villain the hero of his own storyline? 100%. But at the same time, there needs to be a level of understanding why they're the hero, and not just being an absolute psychopath. Like, that's my thing with Suicide Squad, is like, I don't know what Sweet Baby or Rocksteady were thinking, trying to go, you guys are all going to love and get behind the guy who just crapped all over your like childhood heroes, the characters you actually wanted to come to. It all boils down to narcissism and wish fulfillment fantasy. And it's really, really, really apparent. We all see it. Gino Zeus says anti-DEI law about to be signed in Alabama. That's interesting. I didn't know about that, but I'll keep my what?
DC3 pointed out a little earlier, way back here, about video games in Japan, ESG. Actually, Bloomberg put out a report about 2 months ago. ESG is leaving Japan in droves. They are running from Japan. That money is vacating so fast that the Toyota Motor Company, Nissan, and Honda have begun dumping billions into the entertainment industry in order to make up the gap so that there's no blip in how anime is being made and manga is being done. And the funnest thing about that is that you have like very well done animated car ads now featuring licensed characters from these animation studios. It's not these bizarre knockoffs that we've got from McDonald's. They've got Shar Aznable driving a red Prius, drifting into the commercial saying, I drifted here to laugh at you. And then he drives away. And that's Shar. That's Shar. That's not like some knockoff to make you think of Shar. That's Shar Aznable driving a Prius.
Yeah, we're not. It's no longer Whackdonald's. We are full on McDonald's now. Like, that's where we've gotten to because of everybody. It's like collapsing, I guess, is probably the best way to describe it, right? Like, that industry's done there for good reason, thankfully. I mean, we've already sort of seen it. What's the right term here? Because like, I don't want to say like take hold or take root, because it's obviously being like kicked out, but like, it set up shop for a little bit, maybe might be like the right word, like a pop-up shop. And they've really, really tried to get everybody to come on over and get them enough money to set up real shop. But Japan just said, nope, we don't want you. We're like, please get the hell out of here. And it's pretty great to see.
Well, speaking of get the hell out of here, if it'll transition, here we go.
It never will. Yes, finally, folks, aren't you so excited? We are back in the Star Wars season. We have a brand new show for everybody coming out. It is The Acolyte. It is set in the High Republic. It is show ran by Harvey Weinstein's former assistant, and it is apparently going to continue subverting all of your expectations about the lore. So, for those of you who didn't know, and I mean, see, I say this because like normally a lot, trailers and stuff, a lot of people are online and we'd all see it. But like, I feel like a lot of people here actively just ignore the Star Wars stuff nowadays. Like, I saw the trailer on my feed like 3 hours before I wrote about it. And I didn't watch it until I had to write, because I was like, I don't want anything to do with this anymore. Like, I'm so over Star Wars. But basically, so for those of you who haven't seen the trailer, not a lot there. if you read reports from like last year from Bounding, there was a trailer leaked at D23, and it's the exact same trailer where it talks about who gets to use the Force, yada, yada, yada. I will admit that I like seeing Carrie-Anne Moss. Like, she's just cool to me. So just seeing her in anything makes me automatically go like, oh, Carrie-Anne Moss. But aside from that, absolutely nothing in that trailer sort of excites me or does anything for me, especially knowing that this is High Republic era. I'm sure you felt this, Cider, and I'm probably Jacob and Josh, and I know Cider definitely did. But at the very end of that trailer, there's a moment where a red lightsaber like flips out of the forest and cuts up a bunch of trees. And so like 10 Jedi or something all like recognize there's a Sith, and they activate their lightsabers and they rush into battle. And to me, I saw that clip and I was just like, this is your, like, you guys are police clapping everything. Like, you just threw in a bunch of lightsabers there so that everybody would go, oh, I love lightsaber. Lightsaber's so cool. Oh yeah, this is going to be rad. And it's just like, this is going to be a total disaster. You're just telegraphing it from the absolute very beginning. But
don't ask questions. Just consume product and then get excited for next product.
that is literally this show, like, defined, probably even more than Obi-Wan Kenobi. So that's the trailer. There's really not a lot there. You do get to see Amanda Stenberg there with her very odd choice of hair. It's not a necessary. I don't think it's a necessarily bad fiction hairstyle. I just don't think it's Star Wars. Like, this feels like a Wakanda thing to me. Like,
I just love the complete and utter lack of soul that's just in her eyes right now. That's what I love.
There's no soul coming out of those eyes.
the trailer popped up on my X feed. I want to call it Twitter, and I'm trying to train myself not to do that. So it's X, my X feed. And I didn't see the Disney Plus thing start at the front of it. So I was just watching this thing without the sound on when it first happened for me. And I was like, what in the hell is this? Because it was like, I thought it was Rebel Moon.
Generic, like, sci-fi thing, right?
Yeah, right. I thought it was the next go of Rebel Moon, because the person who posted it was just posting the trailer with, like, I can't wait for this. They weren't posting, like, this is the Acolyte Star Wars hashtag, none of that. It was just straight up, like, hey, this is cool. So I was watching that and I was like, this is Zack Snyder's next thing? Wow. It doesn't look like it's all gloomy and hateful.
Yeah.
I don't feel depressed and questioning how many Instagram filters he put into this. But then I found out it was Star Wars. And I was like, wait a minute. Missed it. So you're right. At the end of it, there was that moment where they all activated it, and I said, "Oh, cool! There's going to be a techno rave in the woods."
Yeah, right.
Me?
Yeah, exactly.
I've been to one of those. I know how this ends. Who brought the pills?
Oh, I mean, if we want to talk about rave parties, well, we might touch on X-Men 97 in a little bit, but
I hope so much that they do put some kind of like funk or like some Star Wars hip hop remix. There's some dude as they're like fighting in the
like
the woods.
Some Star Wars like Black Panther intro like fade in. It's just
that's literally what I was about to say.
Some Kendrick Lamar nonsense.
I was about to say, remember how they did that for Black Panther? They're going to try and do it again because Amanda is a black woman. Like, they're going to do it 100%.
Or do what Transformers did to be like, oh, this is a movie about black people. Let's put DMX in this. And it's just
To be fair, that was like their best move ever. That actually got them.
It could have been their only good move.
Yeah.
You remember the music from Samurai Jack?
Yes.
That's what should be in the background in the woods. That would really fit into a techno rave in the woods.
That would actually be cool, but like, I don't give Disney any credit that they're going to do that because we don't have any good music in any of these shows.
It's just going to be another run through of the Imperial March, and they'll add bongo drums so it sounds tribal.
No, that's 1,000%. And then what is that thing? A didgeridoo. We'll probably get a didgeridoo like woo, like to open like 7 episodes.
Wow. I just. Up until today, I haven't watched the trailer. I didn't know that the Acolyte was actually live action. I thought it was animation. Up until this point.
To be fair,
good job, Disney.
No idea.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. To be fair, that's on Disney. They haven't really done anything. They don't know how to market anything anymore. They just sort of they drop it and expect you to go.
Speaking of which, of not knowing how to market things anymore, it turns out it goes a lot deeper than that.
It goes so much deeper than that. So yeah, guys, not only do we have a new Star Wars show, but do you remember about 10 years ago when they threw out all the EU material, like absolutely all of it, and said, we're starting over, we're going back to square one? Well, according to Harvey Weinstein's assistant, this new show will recanonize some stuff from the EU. Now, unfortunately, that's about where the news ends, because she didn't, Headland didn't specify what she's bringing in, what she's taking. But I am so, it's incredible how bad Disney has failed, right? Because yes, they threw out the EU, and I think I speak for most of us when I say that was really stupid, and we all enjoyed that material. But as we also sort of talk about on this show, that's where the cards were, and we had to play with what they were dealt. And so Disney said, that's what we're going to do. Let's go forward. They failed so much in doing their own EU that they're now going back to actually canonizing the EU, which is absolutely like 100% throwing in the flag. And this is after they've already ripped off like a number of EU stuff for the Disney canon. The one that I always go back to because it ruined the character, or it ruined the story of my favorite character, is Kyle Katarn. Back in the day, he's the protagonist of like most of the video games, Jedi Academy, Jedi Outcast. He was the one who actually got the Death Star plans to the rebels and all that fun stuff. They completely took his character and gave it to whatever his name for Andor and for Rogue One. Like the Rogue One story, those two characters are basically carbon copies from EU characters and an EU story. And they it's so, I'm laughing, honestly. Like you guys have fucked up so bad that you now have to go back on the big move that you guys thought was totally going to win. Like it's so bad. Let's see. I wanted to point this out. So you just said they are trying to replace KOTOR. That's the thing, is they want to, and that's what sort of the High Republic era is for, right? This whole series is supposed to take place like 200, 400 years before the Skywalker saga and all that sort of fun stuff. So there's overwriting your KOTOR. There's overwriting a lot of that EU stuff, actually, pretty much. Yeah, almost all of it. There's, like the, I'm totally blanking on the series, but Dark Horse had the comic series for a long time that actually told the story of how the Jedi fell and how the Sith rose to power, right? And threw all that out for whatever we're going to get here. And again, we didn't get to like specifically touch on it before we flipped over headlines, which is fine. Like, it doesn't matter. But the whole point of this show is going to be another one of those, are the bad guys really the bad guys? Like, can we subvert your expectations more? And it's just like, what are we even doing here at this point, Disney? You've learned nothing, and you deserve to just continue failing. Yeah, Kyle Katarn was an incredibly well-written character. I love Kyle.
So we're basically we're basically gonna ask the question if the Sith are really the bad guys in a Star Wars story. Are we that we're really gonna do right now?
That is what they're doing. Like, it's so insane to me. There's a line in that trailer where it's like the Force isn't about like good or evil. It's about like who gets to use it. And it's just like, what are we doing here? This is
hey, are the Jedi really the good guys in this story? Like, have you really thought about
what they're doing? And like,
yes,
that's what they're doing. They are like 100% objective.
That's the only way you can be a Jedi, in fact.
Yeah.
But also, like, this sort of touches upon one of your favorite things, Jacob, which is like casting predictability. Because even if, let's, complete devil's advocate. It's like, let's say for a second that we totally thought that they were not going to subvert our expectations and that they were actually going to show the Sith being bad guys, right? It will never happen, no matter how much the marketing might show it or whatever, because of its lead actress, right? Amanda Stenberg is a woman. She's black. She's queer. And she is non-binary. She uses she, they pronouns, whatever. Like, she is the quad trifecta of demographics you cannot hurt in media these days. Like, it's the Scream 6 problem where who's the bad guy going to be? Oh, it has to be the white cop because he's the only one there who's not part of a protected demographic.
Yeah, it's like if there's a whole bunch of they thems on the show and there's one heterosexual white guy, he's the villain. No matter what the context of the show is, no matter what the story is, you just know he's the bad guy. If he's the good guy at the start of the story, he will be the bad guy by the end of the story.
I know that I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit here, but the opening scene of X-Men 97, right, tried to find anyone who's not, there's a few, but everybody else, all the villains they fight in the first 5 minutes of the show, yeah, they're white guys. Everyone.
Oh yeah, no, all of the X villains are the white guys. we'll definitely touch upon that. But that's exactly it, right, Josh? It's like, I know that no matter what happens, Amanda Stenberg is either going to be like the first real Jedi, or she'll be the reason the Sith fall. Like, she's not going out in a way that, I don't know, like she's just not going out. And if she does go out, you'll all know how she goes out. She'll go out in the most like respectful, honored, like, oh, we revere her so much way. Again, look at how all the Justice League went out in the game in Suicide Squad versus Wonder Woman, where they all get pissed on and shot in the face, and Wonder Woman gets this, we loved you so much. You were the golden like compass to all of us villains. We all respected you. Like, it's so obvious that that's how this shit's gonna go down. I already know it. But yeah, that's basically all we've got for the Acolyte. Buckle up, I guess. It's going to be, I don't even know if I can call it a ride. It's going to be sitting in the queue for a ride. But Josh, it's going to be
a thing that certainly happens.
It's going to be a thing that certainly happens. It's going to be a show that certainly nobody watches, and you're probably not going to get a lot of merch out of more than 2 characters from the show. You're going to get like Amanda Stenberg and the black guy who looks like Miles Morales with the haircut, like the main character. That's all you're going to get. And that just kind of shows, like, that's supposed to be their big comeback after all of this stuff. It cooked. Absolutely cooked if they were not before. We're at the point where it's like crispy, like charred coal at this point.
So here's the thing. I don't want them to go ahead and make a lightsaber for the show, simply because I was watching a meme compilation, and the telescopic lightsabers for the new Star Wars toys are a bit suggestive.
Are they really?
You tell me.
Oh,
they're a little bit suggestive, aren't they?
Oh, that's
so. I'm hoping they don't make any Sith Acolyte lightsabers. Yeah,
the Acolyte lightsaber will look. It'll be pure penis hat. It'll be Rick James penis hat.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Oh, those are bad.
Anyway, back to Morph.
Yeah, so
are those circumcised lightsabers, or are they just like?
Well, one of them's red.
We got to ask? Are they being sold on the Gaza Strip? That will answer our question.
Oof.
Boonch.
You didn't get bleeped for that one.
So folks, Star Wars obviously in a whole heap of trouble, but so is Marvel. Today we got the premiere of their newest series, X-Men 97, and I don't know, it's out is kind of about what I can say. Obviously we have our non-binary Morph. We have the show being influenced by Bo DeMeo, who we still don't know why he's gone. It was influenced by him being a gay black man, which there are moments where you can definitely tell. But overall, I'd say the show. All right, I guess if I were to give like a quick review of the show,
both of the episodes, just one.
I watched both of them. Right. I'd probably have to say that like the writing is fine-ish. Like I don't think anybody's really acting out of character, or that any of the plots are necessarily too outlandish. There are things we'll get to, but go ahead, Josh.
I don't know. I wasn't really pleased with the intro scene of Gambit. I was like, wait, hold on.
Which was the intro? Was that in the kitchen?
It was a little bit too more effeminate than I remember.
That was in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
Like when they're cooking breakfast. Yeah. And so like that's sort of what I mean. Like overall, I think
very intentional as well.
He's very what?
No, I mean that the decision, the creative decision behind it is very intentional as well. So
no, 100%. And like, so yeah, that's a good push for me to clarify. It's like the overall, I guess, like plotting and general attitudes of everybody are pretty fine. Like I didn't think anybody was egregiously
he
out
looks
of
a little
character.
different.
Who's this? Oh yeah. But there are these very, very, very stark moments where you're like, I'm not entirely sure sort of what you were going for, or I do know what you were going for here, and you're not being subtle about it. So one of them I did notice this too, Josh, is here's Gambit. And this is the first time you see him in the series. Obviously, they're going for the like 90s sporty cutoff look, but like Josh said, this is a very, very, very intentional like look and choice, especially with,
even
like,
Leslie doesn't like this.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like, and that she's the target demo. But like,
is she?
Look, so, right, because
she's a girl.
especially right, you go back to like whatever the early mid 80s, whatever, early 90s, and you know the Jock was actually wearing that. You know, it fits the era, I suppose. But the problem is that the attitude does not fit.
Well, that's
him
the problem. Yeah,
flamboyant, and that's the problem.
He's very flamboyant. He's very not. He's like, and again, he didn't have that many like moments, but he's like less flirty and less like charismatic. Like he's less out there. It's very, very weird. But no, like, yeah, this is something people wore in the 90s. But you also have to look at their like. There's an intentionality behind it, right? There obviously has to be. Nobody. That Cyclops didn't wake up and go, I'm going to go get changed today, because he's not a real person. And if you guys saw, there's a shot of them. It was released in previews. It's in the episode, but there's a shot of all of them in their like basketball clothes where they're all dressed in like Oh, you have it right here. Right. Perfect. So that, like, to Josh's point, yes. Are all of these clothes that people would have worn in the 90s while playing sports? Absolutely. I'm sure I probably have workout clothes that look exactly like what Cyclops is.
Just like watch the volleyball scene in Top Gun.
Right.
There
yeah. No, that's I hate watching it though, because they're wearing freaking jeans on the beach. It's the worst. But the thing is, like, when you look at this image, it doesn't feel like a natural gathering of 90s people. It feels like you got a bunch of people together and said, we need to specifically recreate the 90s. Go put on these clothes because that's what they're doing. So when you see that sort of intention in this shot, it makes it clear that what they're doing with Gambit is less about, oh, we looked at like clothes references and we used them and that's just how it turned out, and more like, we know what we're doing. We're going to lean a little harder into it. And yeah, they really like emasculated Remy to like, it makes me really, really upset because in the second episode, it basically ends with Magneto and Rogue sort of rekindling their romance because they can touch. And like Remy's there trying to be like supportive of Rogue and like trying to be in a relationship with her. And she keeps rejecting his advances. And then he's like, he catches them. Like Rogue is walking out of Magneto's room and Remy's like standing in the hallway, like out of sight. And he like drops a card or whatever, because he realizes what's happening. And it's just like, why did you do this to them? Like, I don't know. Like Gambit's so cool and you made him so lame.
We have a clip that might not get us blasted off of YouTube. I want to say that this is okay because of like the TikTok crap, right? That you're looking at here.
Wait. We know what you need to do. We know what you need to do. Where is it, Cider? There's only one way for us to get by the copyrights.
What's that?
You don't have it? I have it. Where is it? There it is. Yeah. I was either going to use that one or the Zegler one, but yes.
Oh yeah. Let's hope this is enough. Okay. So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to mute it because this guy's yelling about this, so you can't really hear the audio.
He's he's commenting over it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's better anyway. So here he is doing his thing. All right. And okay. So you see him, right? Got that blown over emo kind of hair going on.
Because he didn't have that. Like he just had like rough and tumble hair, and then they gave him like, I look at that and I think Shatterstar from like the 90s.
Right.
Like
exactly.
From Life World.
So remember, the showrunner was hired because of his experience as a black gay man. Just pay attention. I'll point some things out to you when we get to them, but just keep your mind paying attention to what you're looking at, not what you're expecting to hear. All right, you see him doing that. He's clearly talking, right? So there's Scott in his polo, because he's like a dork or whatever, you know. And that's somebody's neck.
This guy's great at filming.
Neat. Okay, so here's what I wanted to attract your attention to right now. Rogue is more covered up than Remy. Okay,
that's a really
He's
good point.
the one with the belly.
I didn't even notice that.
He's the one with no sleeves. She's covered to mid thigh. She doesn't even have her cleavage. She's cut right off.
Wow.
Okay, so here we go.
You didn't notice.
You didn't notice, but your brain
somehow they made him look like more of a Motley Crue groupie than she did in this whole thing.
Now I know their excuse is Rogue. If you touch her, you'll die. That kind of thing. So she's just covering herself in case Remy wants to hug her or whatever. But I think we're going to see Jean in this clip. So they're clearly a couple disputing. I'm cool, you're not. And there's Professor Xavier walking.
Kind of. It's Morph.
Oh, okay. And
which is also like I'll get to Morph.
So there's Jean. So there's Jean. Well. She is in exercise gear that has no exposed midriff. So once again, Remy is more covered up, is more revealed than everyone in this scene.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's like, every couple times a year, the WWE will go to Saudi Arabia for a show. And when they go to Saudi Arabia, like all the women who wrestle on the show are forced to cover themselves from neck all the way down because they can't show any skin whatsoever in this Middle Eastern region. And I feel like every time we let these people get in charge of creative, we're basically operating under Saudi Arabia rules only for the women. Only for the women.
Oh, 100% only for the women. I mean, yeah, like that basketball shot, like Wolverine shirtless. You've got Scott's muscles like rippling out the side, but all the women make sure that they look like super sporty or whatever. Like it is very, very apparent. I mean, I love how you brought up the gay black man point, because there are some moments, like that's what I was sort of getting at with the writing, is there are two moments, one from Magneto and one from Sunspot, that are just like too on the nose about what their messaging is trying to be. Like there's this moment where Sunspot's like, oh, I don't tell my parents that I'm a mutant because I hate, or like they would be ashamed of me. They would hate, like, I don't even remember the exact thing, but okay. What am I trying to say? Right. I know that sounds.
There's another one. There's another. I know what you're trying to convey, and I'll just lay it up with this one. Okay.
Yeah, you probably.
So there's another one where Jean is expressing, I don't know if I want to have this mutant baby. Because if the baby is a mutant, it'll be persecuted. It has to look over its shoulder constantly. However, we're shown in a newspaper, the Daily Bugle is covering a mutant fashion show and the Hellfire Gala. These are two separate events. The Bugle itself is putting on a mutant fashion show, and then the Hellfire Gala is a separate event entirely. So it's right there. It blows right by the camera, so you see it.
They want you to see it, right? Like it's not just like a blink and you'll miss it.
If we're having fashion shows for mutants, what's your baby got to worry about? Not fitting into a size 0? What is the problem?
I mean, that's what I was getting at. I was like, and they even like talk about it later on. They're like, look, the government is on your side. Like they're giving Magneto a trial. Like yes, there's going to be the people who hate you, but also like, that's just going to be anybody who lives ever. Is sort of what I was getting. Like they're trying too hard to make that message like parallel to being gay, like the mutant to gay. Like they're trying way too hard, and it just comes off as like, okay, we get it, like just move on. Though I will say, like, surprisingly, it's a little less than I thought it would be. But again, 2 episodes in, there are those moments. There's another one where Magneto says something while he's on trial where it's just like, scale it back, like, no, this isn't, like, we're not going to do this here. Like, just stop.
So we saw this, and there's a little bit of shaky stuff going on with the guy running the TikTok. Okay.
Yes.
So it wasn't a great demonstration of the animation, but we've got people in the chat like, hey, it's me in HD, and he's talking about the animation just being absolutely terrible. So
bad.
I want to ask everybody to watch this one. This guy has almost 6,000 subscribers. Maybe we can push him over. I don't know. But this fellow right here made this Helldivers 2 ARC Troopers animation in his home office with 0 budget. Okay. And we're going to watch it. It's just a quick thing. But please subscribe to this guy. Links in the chat, whatever this thing is over here, and where the words pop up. So it's over here, and just please subscribe to this guy. He did this all on his own. He took up some audio from the Clone Wars and redid it. So just watch this, and bear in mind what you saw with that breakfast scene.
That breakfast scene is so bad.
Go Power Rangers.
He did this in his home office.
And it is literally like better than what we're getting out of X-Men 97, if not on par.
Yeah, it looks almost what they're doing.
This looks better than what people have done on $250 million production budgets.
Yes.
What? You didn't love Wish?
Look at it. Look at this. This is fantastic. Watch.
Approaching droid perimeter. We are undetected. Gun it, sir.
The X-Men 97
This is hilarious.
Does that same like glass shiver.
Bang! it just nails it.
I like this one the most, where they look down at it and they go, huh?
So if you play the game, you'll know why that's there, and why that's bad for them, for the bad guys, and why they're taking shelter inside of the ship.
Gosh,
Look at this
right there, that model.
Yeah,
and that model looks more integrated than the ones in X-Men 97.
Look at it, takes off.
It's like shaking in the or like hovering.
Yeah. This is on par with what you got in X-Men 97. It's just a little choppier, but it's right there, man.
Veritas says this is ripped off from Clone Wars. Yeah, no, he specifies that in the video.
Quite literally in the title.
Yeah. So no worries.
And
he's not pulling a fast one on us.
Yeah. But that's what he did in his. I'm sorry, making a goofy face eventually. But that's what
the Black or to the 01 stream where we can't get our stuff to work.
Technical difficulties, the show. But yeah, this guy did it in like his home office. And X-Men 97 can barely eke out Remy looking like a twink. So
like it is so 3D model animated. It looks like a mobile game. Like they took models from a mobile game and animated that. That's what I was like earlier today. I was like, what does this feel like? It feels like car insurance commercial animation where like you have one model and it like blinks maybe. And then it like really like jarringly moves like its entire arm instead of just like those parts of it. It doesn't feel good to watch. It feels very fake, if that makes any sense. And I learned apparently that they hand drew the series and then went over their drawings with 3D modeling. And I don't understand why you would do that. Like, what did you achieve from that? You just made it look worse.
Here at Disney, we like to burn money.
We like to go like make things just the most absolute complicated they can. Like it's so dumb out of them.
There was like, and you can even tell that it would look actually even worse without the film grain, and the film grain is almost distracting as well. It's like, look how 80s this is, look how 90s this is. We've got the film grain on our animation, and it's like, no, it would look even worse without it.
Folks out there might know what I'm talking about. This might be a little niche, but like in fan art, a lot of people who do like fan art, artists who do like, oh, this is a 90s style, comic book page or a 90s style anime girl. They'll use those filters to get that effect, right? But it's sort of like it becomes the 90s filter effect, and it's an effect rather than an actual thing. So it just sort of bugs you the entire time, especially when they're like this, they're trying to use it really, really, really earnestly. Because I didn't like it either. It just they put all their production attentions into the wrong spots, into race-based casting and 3D modeling, when you should have been working on your animation or your art design or anything like that. So one thing I wanted, or what do you got, Cider? What do you have over there?
It's just the Alien trailer, that's all.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just before we flip over to that, because I really do want to talk about that. I know we're running close. I just wanted to point out like 3 things from X-Men 97 for us to look at, because I have screenshots because I took them and it backs up all of our points. Allow. So whenever you want to hit me up there's your ad. There's like right there, front page, Daily Bugle, Mutant Fashion Show, Hellfire Gala. I actually took the screenshot because there's something on it that really pisses me off. And it's the fact that the Daily Bugle didn't hyphenate Spider-Man.
It's like, what?
Right, Josh? I was going to send it to you, Josh, but I was like, I'll show him on stream. Like, I'll show you. And then I'm also a little mad because, yeah, right? And then over here, it makes me bummed that I guess Marrow is missing. And just because I like Marrow a lot, I thought she was cool. But so here's another thing I wanted to point out. The character designs. So this is Sunfire. This is Roberto DaCosta, right? If you notice, or what was that, Josh? Go ahead.
Sunspot.
Yeah, Sunspot. Yeah, Sunspot.
Dude.
Right. That's the point. Like, that's what I was going to bring up is you look at this character design and this is supposed to be a guy, but I don't know what's happened in recent design classes. I mean, aside from the obvious meta thing that we like, culture wars we all know are always happening, because like modern cartoons are drawing all their men so effeminate. Specifically, like we went over this with the He-Man trailer for the whatever it is, Revolutions, whatever the new one is. There's a shot of He-Man where he's got like a warrior ponytail, but he's got like eyeliner and it makes him look super feminine. And that's what they did here. They gave Roberto eyeliner and they emphasized his lips, this isn't something you do for male characters. Like that's art design 101. Again, communicating an idea with limited capacity, you don't emphasize guys' lips and you don't give them winged eyeliner. So not only is that weird here, and it definitely made Roberto feel like he was supposed to be like a gay stand-in, but I noticed as the series went on, like Magneto looks the same way. They give him like eyeliner and lips. And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? I don't understand what you guys are going for. It's
the showrunner was hired because he's a gay black man. What did you expect, Spencer?
Gay black man, more than Misty Eye. Gay black man.
I mean,
gay black man.
Spencer, look at this. I want you to observe. All of the women are wearing 2 layers except for Storm, and Storm and Bishop blend in with their background. So unless you can't even really see Bishop. There's like a piece of the door in front of Remy, as far as you know, until you see his eyeball and his goatee.
There's like, wait, what's that green stripe?
Right, exactly. And that's so. But the women are double layered. Jean's wearing her full referee thing, like, and then outfit, Rogue, for whatever reason, is wearing her costume plus a tank top.
Yeah.
And the men, look, Hank McCoy, I know he goes out and fights crime without a shirt, but I think that's just one of those I'm a savage beast visual choices. Because all the times I remember him in the show, he had like a shirt on. Some type of shirt.
Yeah, he was always
some
trying to
type
look
of shirt.
Fancy.
And I don't know why Wolverine would not have a shirt on. I know it gets ripped off a lot, but I don't recall him, unless he's flirting with Jean, I don't recall him walking around without a shirt on. Least of all, playing basketball. Okay.
No, yeah, and it looks even weirder in motion. Like they have a couple like shots of them all playing basketball, and Wolverine just does look really, really out of place. I don't know what they're going for. I mean, yes, I do. Experiences of a gay black man. They're clearly
dribbling, bub. That's dribbling, bub. You know what dribblers get.
Other thing that I wanted to mention, some of the characters, especially Storm, sound like, 65, the actress is 65. She sounds 65. Like, get another actress.
Very deep black lady.
Well, like, her.
So unless you guys start singing Negro spirituals,
I would actually be kind of down. Make X-Men 97 a Negro spiritual musical. Go all the way. Actually commit. I would be 100% in for that. It's her, it's Wolverine, it's Magneto. Everybody sounds tired. And I think a lot of that has to do with, they are old.
The actor's 60 years old. They probably go
they're
sit down, take a nap.
Well, like, not only are they like 60, years old, 60 plus years old. A lot of these guys don't voice act anymore. Like they haven't voice acted since like 2002. So you're literally, they went, we need you for one last job. And they didn't, prep them or anything. So they just threw them into the recording booth, and it really, really tells. And it really, really sort of emphasizes just like, did you really put the right amount of effort into this? Did you guys really do it? And yes, Veritas got it. Society's in there. I really didn't highlight. You say it all the time, Veritas, and you're always right. We know. But then, fine. Just to close things off. So I made this comparison shot of the last frame of the original intro on top and the 97 intro on the bottom. And you can sort of see, like, obviously here's your hand-drawn animation and then your modeled animation. And even though it's the same designs, same, general placement, it all feels so stiff, so like nothing's there. I mean, just off the top, without getting into like an hour-long animation discourse, like you can see on the top there are shadows on their feet, and then on the bottom they're just on a normal plane with no real care to where they are in relation to what's going on. The thing that really bothered me is you can sort of see in the top when like everybody sort of, they're rushing in to fight, like they're leaning forward, they're ready to go. Here it just sort of looks like they're like jogging at each other, like hup, hup, yep, all right, let's go.
It looks like they're standing in place for a photo op rather than engaging in combat.
It looks like Cyclops going the other way.
Yeah,
he's walking backwards. Like,
see you guys.
It's like he thought about it the last second and took a step back.
Yeah. He's like, well, I left the Blackbird running.
Yeah, I gotta don't credit me.
Like, this guy's way bigger than I thought he was gonna be.
Oh man, I gotta fire my agent. I gotta go get Sydney or Dakota Johnson's new agent. Like it's just it's soulless.
It's just
Leslie
cleaner volume dealer. It's 4K. That's the only thing you're seeing. It's 4K on a set on a 720 setting, like 16:9 screen stretch. That's why it looks better. If you get the 4K,
260.
Yeah, if you get the 4K, let's say you just go get that footage off your old DVD collection of the X-Men animated series, right? And you run that into one of those AI footage upgraders that moves it up to 4K. It'll look as clean as the stuff on the bottom. So admittedly, it looks cleaner, but it's just upscaling high resolution. Spencer,
it's not anything on there.
You have got to see Super Sentai, like 90s Super Sentai in 4K. It is, it's mind-blowing the shortcuts they took on the set design stuff. You can see the screws and the tape and the hands moving.
Have you no shame?
Back and forth. It's everywhere. 4K Super Sentai.
I need that right
circus.
now. Oh my god, I want that so bad. I need to watch that. That's so funny. Because it's already pretty bad nowadays. Like
you can see the cracks in the rubber suit where they had been practicing and it ripped during the practice, and they had just put it together and spray painted it the right color.
One of the most hilarious shots in recent Memory Cider was in the very first episode of Gotchard, where he springboards up the stairs and he starts fighting everybody, but it's a normal high definition camera while he's running, and then they do this shot from the top of the stairs to show him flipping and fighting, and it goes to 120p, and it's just guys, you have real budgets now. You don't have to film with your dad's old camcorder.
Your Logitech webcam.
Yeah, that would have given him better quality. But yeah, that's X-Men 97. It's not quality. It's bland. It's boring. It's soulless. Leslie put it the best. It is a soulless cash grab that they brought it back. So you go, I remember that. I remember Wolverine. I remember Cyclops. I remember Storm. And then they don't really care what happens with it afterwards. So buckle up for the next few weeks. That's your latest Marvel. That's your first Marvel production with the mutants, officially, not counting Kamala. Here, yay!
You paid $71 billion just to get this. Congratulations, Disney.
How are they so bad over there just at making decisions? It's not even like they have to do anything crazy. It's hey, X-Men movie, okay. Profit.
If this was still a real business, which we know that it's not, literally everyone would be fired.
You would think so. I've only ever heard of one exec ever being like fired for a bad decision, and that was the guy who was doing Blade, who like didn't tell Kevin Feige that it was terrible, and they like shuffled him away, but then they brought him back like a month later. So yeah, it's not a real industry. Nobody's getting fired. They just get put on to the next project. But yeah, I think that's all we've really got for X-Men 97. Obviously, at least I'm gonna keep watching it to see kind of what it does, because I'm not gonna lie, guys, at the very core, I'm a sucker for the 90s Cyclops design. Like, it's just, that's my favorite he's my favorite X-Men. It's got the design. I want to see it in motion at least, you know. So if anything crazy happens, you know, Bounding Into Comics will be the first to cover it, and we'll also let you know on the stream. But with that, we're running close, but we've had another, what do you want to call it? Like a media drop. I guess they all happened at once lately, because we had X-Men 97, we had Star Wars The Acolyte, we had a Furiosa trailer, and
Another
we had a
one.
new, I know, another one. After, like, the other one just came out like 2 weeks ago. But then we also got a new trailer for the new Alien movie, Alien Romulus. Now, I haven't watched it yet. I didn't get a chance to. So I'm going to let Cider take the wheel on showing us the trailer. And I know he has some very valid complaints about what we're seeing here.
So just bear in mind, we're going to have to pause this because it is fresh and they're going to be quite active. It's already going to cost the stream the monetization. It's just not to get struck. Let's put it that way.
Mm-hmm. Even with
spaceship
the jet there.
Yeah, it's rolling up. It's having the fire problem on it. It's got a fire. So I don't know who Alvarez is. Apparently he's attached to quite a few horror stuff. So
Dante, let us know.
The director of Don't Breathe.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Those movies are.
And Evil Dead.
Okay. That one wasn't
good.
And
producer Ridley Scott. So that jerk off's back again.
I was gonna say, like,
different endings.
I was about to be like, is that even like a pro anymore? Like, that's a big negative.
You have someone screaming in the background. Oh God, please help me, please. Here we go.
Female voice too. Remember, that's going to be very pertinent.
Yeah. There's the sleeping pods. Oh no, they're malfunctioning. Look.
Look,
one's full of blood. Oh no. Face huggers, everybody. You remember face huggers? Look at that. Face huggers. You remember face huggers?
This already just looks like Dead Space, the game or the movie.
Actually, yeah, that's a really good point. It really does.
I honestly wanted to think that this was a video game. I wanted to think that the Romulus was a new Alien video game, and that's what we were looking at here. It was going to be like some online player thing where you and your friends have to outlast everything
like squad up and
can
stuff.
throw at you.
Yeah,
but no. Spooky ba-dong, ba-dong, ba-dong noises. Are you scared enough yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So there you go. That right there is going to become a series of Twitter posts for the next 10 years about the rape allegories and forced pregnancy allegories in Alien Romulus. You will hear nothing but that.
Or when someone sends for Disney a little too hard.
Right. There's bad stuff happening in space, guys. Oh no, there's bad stuff, and it's happening in space. It's a face hugger. You remember face huggers, don't you?
You remember that?
Face huggers. Remember face huggers?
That wasn't even like a good jump scare. There was too much time.
Look at that. It's the thing.
You remember that
the shot? Do you remember
from
the
Alien,
shot?
What
Do you remember
3
the
or
thing?
2? Yeah, like
all of them.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. Yeah,
look just like Ridley.
This shot.
He look just like Ridley.
Every
like put her hair the same way. Good God.
Every last Alien movie has this shot. This creepy back overhead lighting and the soft gray over front lighting, the sweaty lady, and she's freaked out. Every one of them has it.
Lady with big guns say, "Get your heads off of her."
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, hi.
See, even if women protect themselves, they cannot stop rape because scary everywhere. I can see it happening right now.
So no, here's the real twist of this movie. It's an M. Night Shyamalan twist. You find out in like the last 15 minutes of the movie is that they've been on the same ship that Jason was on, and it turns out to be a Jason versus aliens movie the whole time.
That Jason X, right? That's the space one. Yeah, that has my favorite ending ever because they think they've gotten rid of Jason and they look out the spaceport window and they see like the escape pod blowing up, but oh no, it launched Jason back towards the ship and he's coming right at that specific window. And as Jason is like floating there menacingly, last second, the guy who like also got like blown away uses his jetpack and like knocks him away and they like float off into space together, and it makes me laugh every single time. Best movie ever created.
There you go.
So yeah, that's a thing that certainly happened.
It just feels like Aliens, but more. Like it doesn't feel like they're doing. It's like what you were saying, Cider. Like this is just a retread of every Alien movie minus like Prometheus. Like, oh, we're on a ship. Oh, there's a woman who is
but even
the last
Prometheus
survivor.
does
like,
that.
It does.
You're
do that.
still on a ship.
It's
just an ancient buried BS ship.
It's a little different. Okay, they actually have to set down somewhere at the very least.
They walk around. You got me. Yeah.
Very least. But no, you're also correct.
Spill. Yeah.
They play the flute together. Do you not remember that cinematic masterpiece?
who wouldn't want that in your space horror movie? Hooray.
And they dedicated so much time to that, like whole
I can't wait until like they're like having some scene where they can read the mind of the alien. And they just hear like the echo of like a Hitler speech, but it like fuzzes out and turns into "We will make America great. This is MAGA country."
Oh no! Has this pod of xenomorphs been picking up Earth radio signals and been radicalized? We need to take
they find out
right now.
They find out that like the aliens are like from some distant time looped hell where Trump was morphed into the Grand Deacon and. Yeah, you wait.
No. I've got you, Cider.
Alien 8 Resurrection.
Honestly, we used to make fun of all those. Yes, we used to make fun of all those really bad like Scream sequels and like Crow sequels. But honestly, I'd take that nowadays over this like really overtly pretentious garbage. But no, Cider. What's going to happen is that this is going to be some sort of Weyland-Yutani experiment that went wrong and they didn't tell anybody about, and the executive who greenlit it all is going to be a very big like Trump analog like stand-in or whatever. Like that's how they're going to do it. Or there's going to be somebody on the ship who like, I'm the gruff commander who doesn't listen to the newbie or whatever, and I doomed us all. Like that's going to happen. I mean, not to go too far back on what we were talking about. Did you guys watch? Did either of you three watch the second episode of X-Men 97? I know Jacob didn't. You didn't, Josh, right? Okay. There is
Josh is here. Did you watch it?
No, I know he didn't.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, okay. But so the entire second episode revolves around Magneto going on trial in front of the UN because for all like the mutant murders or whatever, and outside there are protesters who are, the Freedom or the Friends of Humanity, anti-mutant. They're protesting outside, and they eventually break into the UN's like central chamber and start like rioting in there and demanding like Magneto and the judges be like given over to them. And I was like, I don't know if like I genuinely couldn't tell
what was the
if
date,
that was supposed to be.
What was the date on the paper?
No, that's the thing, right? Like
because you took a screenshot of the paper. Maybe it was like January 5.
Let's see. That paper says nothing. No date. But like that. No, like I know that the show's been in production for like a long time, but it's also like that's way too on the nose, and it was just like questions. But yeah, like this is just aliens again. It's not going to do anything new. It's just it may be more heavy-handed themes.
Aliens again. This time more aliener.
I mean,
see, you keep coming up with these dumb marketing moves, but every single one makes me way more interested. Like more aliener, that alone, I would get that tattooed right here. Like more aliener. What were you saying, Cider?
Yeah, not Trump. The new Disney villain is Nelson Peltz. That's true. Wayland will probably be a stand-in for Nelson. Yep, that'll probably what it is.
Maybe that's why they're doing all the reshoots on Captain America. They're like, oh,
hey,
we had a Trump villain. We need a Peltz villain.
Someone's gonna face fuck around and find out.
I hate that.
We really went for that one, huh? Really reached for that one.
But this is what I have to say about this: is the Alien franchise has been doing the same thing for 45 years. Okay. Disaster in space, woman has to overcome. That's not the problem. Like a woman can overcome anything.
That is not the problem.
It's just all that franchise.
The problem is that the aliens are still black. Why don't we get no white aliens up here instead of the bad guys?
There was that one.
They were the God creators. Remember, we literally went Yakub in Aliens.
Quite literally went Yakub.
So. Yeah, but this is the problem with Alien is that it's much like Blade Runner. It can't escape itself. It was not meant to be a franchise, and you saw that with Blade Runner 2049. There is no more story to tell in the Blade Runner universe. You may think there is, but there isn't. The whole subject of the problem at hand in that initial movie, as it was introduced to us, was solved. Or at least remedied for the audience. There was closure on how that worked, like what is and isn't a machine, where that line is, why the replicants matter, as opposed to just being a slave class. That was all wrapped up. So 2049 came along and was like, what if he's an incel? And that was the best thing they could do. Was like, what if he's a sexless weirdo? And that's all they had. And so,
I mean that's the thing, right? Like it's
the Alien
marketing.
Franchise.
They're just selling you something with Alien on it, and then they say bye. Like have
the
fun.
Alien franchise. The craziest idea they had was, what if tall spaceman doesn't like humanity? That was the craziest idea they had.
It's so like I think one of the big problems to that, Cider, is that they won't. That phrase you used a second ago, it's what did you say? Like it's
can't escape itself.
Yeah, it can't escape itself. Like I think that's perfect because, like, Alien 1, okay, great movie. We all know that's a fine story. Yada yada yada. Alien 2, it escalates a little more because you start bringing in more, like, she's on a ship now with people, and there's Newt or whatever. After that, they got too afraid of ever sort of shutting the door on any potential like merchandising or sequels or whatever, because really the only logical place for an Alien movie to go in terms of like escalation is like get them on Earth, get them on a planet, right? Or AVP. Like things have to happen. We can't just keep going, oh yeah, the aliens are here, but it was one ship in space, okay, and now it's floating away, we don't have to deal with it. It's like it's just the same stories like it's not even a story at that point. It's just a recap that you keep charging us money for. I'm not excited for this at all. Like, I mean, but when have we been for Hollywood? There's been absolutely nothing. And Hates Me in HD says, thing about Wayland is Bob Iger and Yutani is Peltz. That's the commentary that will be inserted. Then it becomes Wayland Yutani. I can see that actually happening too. Yeah. This is not from Neil Blomkamp. His Alien sequel was rad. This isn't even from Noah Hawley. Those two movies are, I guess, just gone forever. No, this is what we get instead. You get Alien Againer, and you'll like it. You'll go and you'll buy the commemorative popcorn bucket. Screw you. But yes, with that wrap on Alien Romulus, good luck out there, Alien fans. I think we are at a good point to bring the show to a close. As always, everyone, amazing night hanging out with every single one of you, from Hates Me in HD, RJ McCready, Kate, Volume Dealer, Leslie Tarkin, the video game. Oh my gosh, I'm forgetting his name. The video game industry truth from earlier. There were so many more of you at the beginning of the show that I'm totally blanking on. But know that we saw each and every one of you, and we're thankful that you guys showed up, because we do this for you, and without you, we wouldn't be able to cover the news and bring you all the latest updates and all that sort of fun stuff. So thank you guys. Thanks for hanging out. Before we officially get out of here, I'm of course going to shoot it over to everybody else to let you know what they've got going on. Obviously, starting with whoop. I hit the wrong button. I removed him. I removed him instead of
that was totally an accident. I'm positive.
My revenge.
What do we got coming up? Friday, we're going to be doing review on 3 movies. We got the Roadhouse remake coming up. We have Ghostbusters coming up, and Sydney Sweeney's Immaculate, all coming up on that show on Friday. Monday, we're going to be doing another episode of The Bible Lens. It's going to be talking about people who are Christian in name only. And I think there's a lot of names we can throw into that bus, and there'll probably be a lot of people who throw into the bus on Monday night. And then Tuesday, we got The Barroom coming up. Last night's episode was actually really, really good. We got really in depth on a lot of interesting topics, from alcoholism to false converts to the whole Dan Schneider situation, and that's a whole wormhole in and of itself. So go check that out. That's everything I got coming up here. Then you'll see some of our reviews coming up on Bounding pretty soon. So
awesome. And yeah, dude, the Dan Schneider thing, I mean, just to give it a quick, I guess, run over, because it's the topic of the day, it's that there's not really a lot to talk about because we all knew this. This is not news. The Jeanette McCurdy's been talking about it. There have been rumors going around since 2012. This isn't new. It's just, Jacob put it the best on his stream. It's just Hollywood framing themselves as the hero. They want to be look, we're really good. We knew blah, blah, blah. And it's no. It took you until the pressure was on to do anything.
Put it to you this way, everyone's freaking out about this Dan Schneider. All the normies are freaking out about the Dan Schneider situation because this is the first time that they've heard about it.
Yeah.
But most of these are stories that we've known for at least 20 years. The internet has talked about this stuff forever, right? I think the only thing that was actually confirmed was that Drake Bell came out as one of the guys who confirmed was molested by Brian Peck. That was the one name that we really did know.
That's new.
Everything else is we've been known about all these guys.
So yeah, you're no heroes, you're no saints. We're on to you.
To be completely honest with you, there's still a whole bunch of names that they haven't even talked about yet that we've also been talking about for quite some time.
Well, hold on. On that note, you should know that Governor DeSantis signed a bill that says that the Epstein list that was available in the Trump case, that the Trump assisted in the capture of Epstein way back when, the first time, that list and the victims of those people that came to the island will be made public.
Whoa.
Signed it. Yep.
Yeah, when was that? Was that today?
That was Monday. So it'll be sometime in the next
Didn't even hear about it.
Yep.
That's cool.
Yep, sometime in the next few months that'll be
finally. Let's get some information.
A real list, not something that just fell out of the cracks.
Put it to you this way: I feel bad for all you younger generation guys who grew up watching all these Nickelodeon shows like Drake and Josh and iCarly and all that stuff. Because you're not going to be able to watch any of those shows anymore the same way.
Well, hey, you can't watch all that. You can't watch all that. You can't watch the Amanda Show. Keenan and Kel has his fingerprints on it.
Oh yeah.
Stick to the animated shows. You got your Real Monsters, you got your Hey Arnold, you got your Rugrats, you got your
not Rocco's Modern Life. Don't watch that one because Rocco works at a sex hotline.
Stick to the Nicktoons and the competition shows. You usually find all the live action stuff is completely tainted. So,
oh man, you need to start bringing back those streams, like when you were working during the middle of the day and you were like,
was it the Wild and Crazy Kids? Yeah, that one.
Those were some fun streams because you're just whatever, throw them. We'll watch 4 episodes together.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, those are really cool. But yeah, Dan Schneider, that's basically all. We've been new.
Yeah.
Next up, Josh, after your first stream back, congratulations. What have you got going on for the folks?
Well, I don't want to spoil the surprise, but I'm working on an article that, it will be hopefully ready tomorrow morning because it's technically ready now, but it needs some images, and you know how images attach.
Yeah, it takes forever.
Yeah. And that's it. I've got nothing else. No plugs, nothing.
What's his name?
There's Mario 64 in the back.
Yeah, I was going to say, Veritas called it.
You can all enjoy Mario 64, yeah.
I see Mario 64. And then, now you've got Veritas talking Mario. Which, I mean, why not? Mario Galaxy 2 is way better.
Really
next up, Cider, my man, what have you got going on?
It's not Mario Galaxy, but when the next tomorrow, that's right, the next stream on this channel, that is Tokyo Happy Hour, as you're looking right here. That's the show I co-host with Nerdigans, where we talk about stuff going on in Japan, the anime culture, manga culture, video games, music, and regular culture. This week, we're going to be talking, if Jacob's available, we'll settle that up, but we'll be talking about the Digimon 25th anniversary, and all the amazing gizmos and gadgets that are coming out related to that. And then also, we'll be talking about Macross Plus, Macross 7, and the Macross, something other Macross, I'm sorry, is going to be available on Disney Plus now for the first time, global distribution for the first time ever. Macross has never been legally available in the US. Macross 7 never been legally available in the US. So that's pretty interesting news. And I want to talk about sumo wrestling. A couple of months ago, one of the most influential non-Japanese sumo wrestlers retired in one of the most emotional retirement ceremonies that the industry has ever seen. So we'll be talking about that and probably more because Nerdigans just has all of it.
She is a font of news. There's never a lack of conversation when Nerdigans is around.
Well, what time is that one again?
That is at 9 o'clock tomorrow night, right here on the Bounding Into Comics channel.
I might be able to stop by for that one tomorrow night.
Nice.
All right.
Yeah, guys, and if you guys haven't checked it out yet, Tokyo Happy Hour is really, really good. Again, Cider and Nerdigans are a great team, and they know their stuff, so definitely check it out. As for the site, obviously every day, check out boundingintocomics.com for new news, new updates. Check out the YouTube channel daily to hear a daily news update from Cider himself. Of course, check out Monday Rewinds with him and Jacob, where they break down the news from the weekend that we might not have hit. As always, you can come back next week, same bat time, same bat channel for another episode of the 01 stream, where 9 p.m. Eastern time, where we'll break down the biggest entertainment news stories of the week with all of y'all. And
wait, one more thing. I may not have been paying attention because I usually don't. But did we blow anything up this week? Did we?
That's right.
Destroy?
Oh yeah, that's right. We have a laser.
Yeah.
You know what?
You ready?
I think it's primed and ready to go.
Yeah,
Boom!
let's go.
We've saved you all, like, what is it? Like a 10 episode series, 30 minutes, 300 minutes. We've saved you, and we've saved Disney a giant bit of their production budget. So why don't you?
We do have a little bit of a problem currently because it seems like everyone that we're wiping out, like Taylor Swift, keeps like dragging their dead bodies over to the ether somewhere. So I think she's planning something pretty wicked. We just don't know exactly yet. So you know, we're working on it. But yeah,
trust us. Once she has her plans ready, Jacob will be the first to know. He's got Nephilim watch going. I don't even know if that's right for her, but I like using that term.
Who knows? She may be at this point. I mean,
yeah, right. But yeah, so one of those things, right? But yeah, so that's what we've got going on for the site. Obviously, check everything out. If you want more of me, you can obviously find me on Twitter at Kabuto Writer Mav. You can also check out my own live show. I host a live stream on Fridays at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 p.m. Eastern time. The Good, the Mav, the Ugly, where I go and give breakdowns into more niche topics that we might not cover either on this show or on some of the other shows around the sphere. So anime, video games, tokusatsu, all that fun stuff. If that's up your alley, come on over, come hang out. Would love to have you. I also, before we go, wanted to finally make good on a promise to a friend because I've been meaning to do this for like weeks. But in case you guys don't know, I know that we all know her here. She's a regular on Jacob's show, but we are good friends with a independent author, independent comic creator. Her name is C.S. Johnson. She recently she launched her first comic book, Discord. First issue came out a couple months ago. It's really, really good. I highly recommend it. I don't know if it's still available for purchase anywhere because I think it's like a Kickstarter thing. But the good news is she will very soon be launching her second issue Kickstarter for Discord. So you'll definitely be able to pick them up there. And in service of that, yeah, boy, this will be the cover for the book. And I did not illustrate it, but I did color it. This is my first professional coloring job that I did for her. So this will be the color. Check it out. It comes in grayscale and super striking color. But yeah, Discord number 2 coming soon to a crowdfunding site near you. check, like, be on the lookout for it. Obviously, I'll be retweeting it from my own account when it hits there. But yeah, shout out to CS. Good luck to her. Support independent media, all that kind of fun stuff. So with that, I think that's all we have for tonight. We will get out of here and take it easy, everyone. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.